During the war, it didn't count for much, but if it's still the same now. I'm afraid that the higher dimensions of the Xuanyan school will have some thoughts. It had to be said that Xiao Hua, who previously didn't care about these minor details or didn't understand them at all, had gradually matured after the baptism of the Great Tao sword battle. In this world, there was no such thing as a natural leader. Everyone slowly grew up in an environment of life and cultivation. Those so-called great talents who rushed the seedlings to help them grow, their so-called endings, were probably similar to this Great Tao sword battle. Li Zongbao and Xiao Mao gradually flew closer. The two of them could already see Xiao Hua's thin figure. Li Zongbao's expression didn't change, but Xiao Mao couldn't help it. He was originally more than 3 feet behind Li Zongbao, but he actually urged his flight technique to get close to Li Zongbao's back, almost parallel to him. Moreover, the fiery passion in Xiao Mao's eyes couldn't be concealed. Xiao Hua's eyebrows twitched, and he couldn't help but glare at him. This glare immediately woke Xiao Mao up. His figure immediately slowed down a lot, and he obediently flew behind Li Zongbao. Li Zongbao naturally sensed the change in Xiao Mao's flight, but he didn't care. He looked at Xiao Hua flying over and said indifferently, "Junior brother Xiao, you ran here? Greetings to senior brother Li." Xiao Hua respectfully bowed in greeting. Xiao Hua's greeting made Li Zongbao's tense face jump slightly. An indescribable expression flashed in his eyes, and he raised his hand to return the greeting. Xiao Mao naturally also came up to greet him. Then, Xiao Hua smiled and said, "Hee, I'll let you know, senior brother Li. I walked around the Sky Patrol City for a while and realized that there were no swordsmen. Even our path sect's cultivators had decreased. I had to return to the Sky Patrol City." "Why did you return to the Sky Patrol City?" Li Zongbao frowned. I didn't enter the Sky Patrol City." Xiao Hua's heart warmed, and he smiled apologetically. "I just met the patrolling city guards outside the Sky Patrol City. I heard from them that our Path Sect's disciples had come out in full force to kill the swordsman in the Sword Catacomb, so I immediately rushed over. I didn't expect to meet a large group of people before I even reached the Sword Catacomb. Senior brother Li, congratulations on making a new contribution in the Sword Catacomb." "You're talking nonsense," Li Zongbao said coldly. "The city guards of the Sky Patrol City didn't even know that we came to the Sword Catacomb. I naturally met other Path Sect's disciples who were alone on the way. This kind of trivial matter. I don't have to report it in detail, right?" Xiao Hua smiled and looked at where Li Zongbao and the rest came from. He said, "Senior brother Li and the other senior brothers have returned from the Sword Catacomb so quickly. I guess you must have achieved a very glorious result in this Path Sect's battle." "Yes, very glorious," Li Zongbao said snappily. "Now that our Path Sect's disciples are only left with 100,000 people, it's indeed very glorious." "Ah. Why?" Xiao Hua turned pale with fright. Li Zongbao glanced at Xiao Hua and waved his hand. "Go and ask Xiao Mao." "Yes." Xiao Hua turned his head and asked seriously, "Junior brother Xiao, why did you come out with senior brother Li?" "I don't think I called you. Now that the battle is about to end, our special task force in the conference hall has been disbanded. If you stay with senior brother Li, won't the Golden Core Masters of your Xuanyan school have any opinions about you?" Xiao Mao was stunned, and then he felt warm in his heart. He knew that Xiao Hua was concerned about him, but he rolled his eyes and said with a smile, "Big brother, who said the battle is over? You weren't in the Sword Catacomb. How do you know the battle is over?" Xiao Hua laughed in his heart. He knew that Xiao Mao was joking, so he said casually, "Our Path Sect's disciples have died like this, and it's still not over. If it's not over, why did you come back? Xiao Mao is not in our Utopia faction." Li Zongbao said lightly. I saw your message, so I called Xiaomao over. Hee, it's just as senior brotherly said. Xiaomao said with a smile, when I received the message and knew that Big Brother was safe and sound, I was very happy. I immediately reported it to the masters and called senior brotherly over. Then, Xiaomao briefly explained the situation of the battle. It was very simple. It was definitely like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water, skimming over it. Xiao Hua was too lazy to correct him. He turned his head and asked, Senior brotherly, how did Master Qian Mo of the Imperial Thunder Sect fall? Who is the culprit? Li Zongbao stared at Xiao Hua for a moment and said word by word, the one who forced Master Qian Mo to self-destruct was LV Ruochang of the Black Phoenix Sword Sect. That day, the nameless senior of the Imperial Thunder Sect already knew. In front of all 100,000 cultivators, he didn't take LV Ruochang's life. You know the details, so what's the use of knowing the culprit? Maybe, the nameless senior was afraid that he would lose a lot of your 100,000 cultivators because of a small loss. Xiao Hua sighed. Xiaomao couldn't take it anymore and said anxiously, Master Qian Mo was so ruthless to Big Brother. He didn't even protect Big Brother in the meeting hall of the Sky Patrol City. His death has nothing to do with Big Brother. Maybe Master Qian Mo is that kind of person. Li Zongbao raised his eyes slightly and looked into the distance. He said, my master has been talking about Master Qian Mo recently. He admires Master Qian Mo a lot. Yes, everyone is different. Everyone's way of doing things is also different. You and I feel that this matter is ruthless, but others feel that it's normal. Xiao Hua naturally agreed. Xiaomao probably doesn't know about the death of Master Qian Mo. Li Zongbao continued to explain the matter. If Master Qian Mo could leave, he would have left. But he didn't leave. If he left, perhaps we wouldn't have to chase after the sword catacomb. Xiaomao said unrelentingly. What about the sword catacomb's 10-direction annihilation array? Xiao Hua asked curiously, I can't figure it out even if I break my head. The sword cultivators suppressed the disciples of my Dao sect and fought their way to the sword catacomb. How could they think of setting up an array in the sword catacomb? And how could it kill so many sword cultivator disciples? This is really too strange. Who said it wasn't? Xiaomao continued, when I found out about this, I was so shocked that my jaw almost dropped. Li Zongbao looked at Xiaomao and said indifferently, if you want to talk about this matter, it has something to do with your sect's Master Qian Mo. It's actually Qian Mo's plan? Xiao Hua was shocked. It said that this plan came from Tu Hong, who was assassinated by Qin Jian. Li Zongbao said word by word, however, Qin Jian is already dead. This credit naturally belongs to Qian Mo. Hearing this, Xiao Hua was even more shocked. He didn't think that Tu Hong would play such an important role in the battle of the Dao sect. Chapter 2702. What's going on? Xiao Hua asked. Thus, Li Zongbao told him everything he got from Heng Heng. Actually, Li Zongbao was also kept in the dark before. He only found out after a few days. On one hand, he admired the arrangement of the sword catacomb. On the other hand, he felt that the sword intent inside the sword catacomb was inconceivable. That sword intent was simply a stroke of genius. If it wasn't for that sword intent, this great array would be complete nonsense. Tu Hong's so-called ambush was also just empty words. After speaking, Li Zongbao looked at Xiao Hua, as if he wanted to get an answer from him. Xiao Hua was even more fascinated when he heard this. At this moment, no one understood the origin of the sword transformation sword insight better than him, no one could sense the coincidence within it better than him, and no one understood the cause and effect within it better than him. Boom! An indescribable fluctuation came from Xiaohua's karmic hand, which hadn't made any progress for a long time. It enveloped the entire space, and even some of the stars above the heavenly Tao's starry sky changed. Although the change was small, the effect was obvious. The starry sky became clearer, and the veil that covered the heavenly Tao seemed to have lessened by a lot. Xiaohua's figure flickered faintly, and that pursed smile became even more mysterious. Suddenly, Xiaohua disappeared, but before Li Zongbao and Xiao Mao could react, Xiaohua actually reappeared. Although Xiaohua still looked the same after he reappeared, but from the bottom of their hearts, they had an intuition that this didn't seem to be the Xiaohua from before. "Who are you?" Xiao Mao was impatient and cared more about Xiaohua. He immediately shouted. Xiaohua was stunned. He asked curiously, "Who am I?" "Xiao Mao, what do you mean?" "You are Xiaohua." Li Zongbao frowned slightly. He used his divine sense to scan Xiaohua. "Strange. What are you two talking about?" Xiaohua scratched his head. "If I'm not Xiaohua, who is Xiaohua? Why did you suddenly disappear?" Xiao Mao asked. "I disappeared. How is that possible?" Xiaohua answered without hesitation. "I've been standing here all this time." "This." Li Zongbao looked at Xiao Mao. Xiao Mao also looked at Li Zongbao. They looked at each other. In truth, Xiaohua also had some doubts in his heart. The karmic hand within the space had changed, and his entire space was shaking. In particular, the primordial spirit that Xiaohua had comprehended in the hand of karma gave him a lot of profound insights. Xiaohua's mind instantly went blank, and he felt as if a long river without a head or tail had filled the entire world. No, it wasn't the sky, nor was it the earth. It was a starry sky. Under the vast starry sky, there was an endless stream of water that was as bright as the Milky Way. Of course, it was only for an instant. Xiaohua saw Li Zongbao and Xiao Mao again. Regarding their questions, Xiaohua Qing knew that it was caused by the strange situation just now, but he could not explain it. "Forget it. You can be whoever you want. What does it have to do with me?" Li Zongbao pondered for a moment, then slapped his hand and took out a few storage bags from his bosom. When Xiao Mao saw this, he immediately took out a few storage bags from his bosom. Seeing this, Xiaohua immediately understood that this was a reward from the conference hall. "Why are there so many?" Xiaohua looked at the nearly 10 storage pouches in front of him and couldn't help but be surprised. "This is why I called Xiao Mao here," Li Zongbao said indifferently. "Killing Qin Jian is your own merit. Xiao Mao and I didn't help at all. This merit, I can take it, but as for the reward, I can't take it." "I see." Xiaohua finally understood why Li Zongbao called Xiao Mao over. He secretly gave Li Zongbao a thumbs up in his heart, and said with a smile, "Senior brother Li is too polite." That day, if Senior Brother and Xiao Mao didn't risk your lives to charge forward and awaken me from my bloodthirsty state, I might have already been killed by Qin Jian. If you die, we will also die. Li Zongbao said indifferently, "So we are doing this for ourselves." "Forget it." Xiaohua waved his hand, "Since the merit is shared equally, the reward is the same." "I don't want it." Li Zongbao said resolutely, "I don't lack these. Moreover, I have already benefited a lot from the battle. These external things will taint my state of mind for no reason." "Oh, I see." Xiaohua nodded and looked deeply at Li Zongbao. "Senior brother Li's words, I will remember them in my heart." If Senior Brotherly has any errands in the future, please don't hesitate to ask. I will not shirk my duty. And Li Zongbao nodded, but there was no look of gratitude on his face. However, Li Zongbao was very satisfied. He knew Xiaohua very well. The weight of this sentence was heavier than all the rewards added together. A cultivator who had just condensed his core and already had the strength of a nascent soul cultivator, this was an unconditional promise. This was something that no treasure could exchange for. Xiao Mao, you don't have to be so polite. Xiaohua waved his hand and all the storage bags landed in front of him. You can take half of them and leave the rest to me. Big brother. Xiao Mao said respectfully, you can take your pick first. No matter how many there are, the rest belongs to me. Oh. Okay. Xiaohua did not stand on ceremony as he looked through the storage bags one by one. Even though he had told Fairy Hongxia that he did not mind, he was still dumbfounded when he saw so many spirit stones, spiritual herbs, pills, and skills. So many. Xiaohua muttered. You don't know how many people Qin Jian has killed. Li Zongbao said coldly, you don't know how many people want Qin Jian dead. All the sects have offered a reward for finding the culprit. Especially the sects that have lost their disciples, they are offering huge rewards. Xiao Mao explained, how many years has it been? We have accumulated too much. Okay. Xiaohua began to take out the cultivation techniques and handed them to Xiao Mao. I will leave these to you. Make a copy for me. Okay. Xiao Mao didn't hesitate. After taking them, he began to take action. Then, Xiaohua divided the Dharma artifacts and treasures into two and took one for himself. As for the spiritual stones, Xiaohua didn't leave a single one for Xiao Mao. He said, with too many spiritual stones, your heart will be messed up. You are still young, I will take care of these things for you. Xiaohua picked up some spiritual herbs that he didn't have in his storage bag and took all the pills that Xiao Mao didn't need. Then, he handed the storage bags to Xiao Mao and said, Big brother, I have finished picking. These are all yours. So much. This time, it was Xiao Mao's turn to be shocked. Big brother, this is too much. I feel guilty. You still have a long way to go. Xiaohua said earnestly, moreover, in Xuanyan school, there are many people you need to rely on. These things might be useful. Isn't it the same for Big brother? Xiao Mao said and insisted on taking something out. Xiaohua thought for a moment and nodded, then take a look. If there is anything you don't need, give it to Big brother. In the end, Xiao Mao actually wanted to give half of it to Xiaohua. How could Xiaohua accept it? He only asked for 30%. They were all rare items that Xiao Mao had no use for. Li Zongbao watched the two of them pushing back and forth to divide the items. He patiently clapped his hands and took out a token and handed it to Xiaohua, saying, other than the reward from the discussion hall, this is a special reward from your Imperial Thunder sect. Oh. What is this? Xiaohua asked curiously. Looking at the faintly discernible lightning on the token and a fist-sized amnesty character in the middle of the lightning, Xiaohua asked curiously. Sect Master's Special Pardon Order. Xiao Mao smiled and took out a token that was similar to the Imperial Thunder Sect Master's Special Pardon Order. Senior Brotherly specially asked for this for Big brother. Although Li Zongbao didn't say it clearly, Xiao Mao already knew and explained. Sect Master's Special Pardon Order. Xiaohua was extremely surprised. He knew that this was the surprise that Fairy Hongxia was talking about. He took the Special Pardon Order and looked it up and down. He also immersed his divine sense in it and saw the image of Master Qian Lei inside. It was similar to the token he gave Zhong Haoran, but the Master Qianlei inside said, "This is my Imperial Thunder Sect Master's special pardon order. I, Master Qianlei, am the Imperial Thunder Sect Master. Those who hold this token, no matter how serious their crimes are, can be pardoned. This token can only be used once. Senior Brotherly. Little brother, what do you want this for?" Xiaohua looked at Li Zongbao, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Li Zongbao stared at Xiaohua and looked at him for a while, then waved his hand and said, "If you think it's useless, then it's useless. Anyway, the rewards are already enough. This special pardon order, it's just a decoration." Tu Hong. Xiaohua looked at Li Zongbao's eyes and knew that he was worried about this. He smiled and said, "No matter what, this is Senior Brother Li's concern for this little brother. This little brother thanks Senior Brother. Keep it well." Li Zongbao said lightly, "Maybe it'll be useful." Speaking until here, Li Zongbao suddenly stopped. He suddenly realized that if Xiaohua was Wu Ming, his cultivation would not be inferior to Shui Yuzhenren by too much. This Sect Master's special pardon order is really useless. Suddenly, a feeling of, "It's not my concern, it's just that he's flying too fast," arose spontaneously. As soon as this thought came into his mind, Li Zongbao was immediately moved and lost interest. It was as if he had done a lot of hard work, only to find that it was useless in the end. Li Zongbao's expression was calm, and Xiaohua couldn't tell what he was thinking. He just casually put away the sect leader's special pardon token and said, "Senior Marshal Brotherly, the war seems to have come to an end. Presumably, the nascent soul masters of the various sects in the 3 cultivation countries have already made preparations. We, the special task force of the conference hall, should also be disbanded. These hundreds of thousands of disciples. What should we do with them?" Although the outcome of the battle has already been decided, the nascent soul masters have yet to receive any news. By the time they send their troops over, it will be a matter of several months later. During this period of time, we still need to cultivate in Sky Patrol City and patrol the vicinity of Sky Patrol City. In addition, when the Golden Core Masters in the conference hall sent a message to the sect, they had already discussed that the survival of our hundreds of thousands of disciples is all thanks to Senior Wu Ming of the Imperial Thunder Sect. This last merit also belongs to the Imperial Thunder Sect. We have been fighting for several years, it's time for us to take a break. The conference hall has already issued an order that all disciples can rest and return to the sect when the nascent soul masters arrive. Li Zongbao glanced at Xiao Mao and said, "As for the special task force of the conference hall, the Golden Core Masters in the conference hall are prepared to award us for meritorious service in this war. The name of this team will be used forever." Oh. Ha ha ha. Xiaohua clapped his hands and said, "I didn't expect that the 3 of us will be recorded in history in the future." Of course. Xiao Mao smiled and said, 3 Foundation establishment disciples killing a 3rd-grade illusory swordsman, this is also rare in the history of the war between Dao cultivators. If we don't go down in history, who will? Extreme joy begets sorrow, extreme joy begets sorrow. Xiaohua whispered, "It's better to keep a low profile, don't let others keep an eye on us. Maybe after the war, there will be many cultivators looking for us to learn from each other. Io, isn't that so? This is big trouble." Xiao Mao came to a realization. All these don't matter. Li Zongbao waved his hand and said, "Because of this, the special task force of the conference hall, Junior Brother Xiao Mao, if you have any problems, you can directly look for me, or look for your big brother Xiao to solve it. And if Junior Brother Xiao has any problems, you can also look for me and Junior Brother Xiao Mao to solve it. This matter has already been discussed by my master and Marshal Uncle Gao Wei of Xuanyan cult, and at the same time, it has also been approved by the various masters in the conference hall. The news has already been sent to the Imperial Thunder Sect along with the battle report. She even pointed at Li Zongbao and stammered, that person, that can't be told to sister, is, you. Li Zongbao didn't agree, but he nodded slightly. Fairy Hongxia immediately understood why Li Zongbao had always been so protective of her. It wasn't only because of Xiaohua, but also because of her sister. Instantly, Fairy Hongxia's heart was filled with sadness. Yes, her sister Kaizhuxia was only a low-level female cultivator at level 6 of the Qi refining stage, and she was from a cultivation family, a nameless Kai family of Lu Yang. What about Li Zongbao? At that time, she was already a famous genius cultivator in the Dawn Rain continent, and had already reached the peak of level 12 of the Qi refining stage. In addition, she was from the Utmost Happiness faction. Her sister was definitely not worthy of such a status. However, in addition to her sadness, Fairy Hongxia's heart was filled with joy, and she had a new confidence in love in this world. That day, Kaizhuxia had used the sky-stealing sun-swapping technique to hide her beauty. Li Zongbao didn't care about Kaizhuxia's appearance, but instead fell in love with her. At this time, he even wanted to accompany her to the Meng Mountains. Although Li Zongbao didn't allow Xiaohua to reveal his identity that day, that was for the sake of the Kai family of Lu Yang, and he had his reasons. Fairy Hongxia's heart couldn't bear any resentment at all. Oh yes, Xiaohua. Fairy Hongxia turned to Xiaohua and asked, the cause of my sister's death. You didn't dare to tell me back then. Now that your cultivation has reached such a level, and you've told me about senior brother and sister, shouldn't you tell me the reason? Fairy Hongxia had wanted to ask Xiaohua for a long time, but she was afraid that Xiaohua would be put in a difficult position, so she took the opportunity to ask him today. Yes, of course I can tell you now. Xiaohua nodded. Actually, it's very simple. Xiaohua had already told Li Zongbao the cause of Kaizhuxia's death, and now he repeated it in front of Li Zongbao. Finally, he said, that day, the actions of Misty Mountain and Flying Phoenix Ridge in Flaming Forest Marsh were their secret, and I didn't dare to reveal it. I was afraid that it would affect the Kai family of Lu Yang. Now that Flying Phoenix Ridge has been destroyed, Misty Mountain is nothing, so I can tell you now. Fairy Hongxia naturally knew about the relationship between Misty Mountain and Shui, and subconsciously turned away. However, when she heard that her sister had done so much for the Kai family of Lu Yang, Fairy Hongxia's eyes turned red again. Big brother, you found the location of the fire essence flame crystal. It's where senior sister Kai died, right? Xiao Mao didn't expect that the fire essence flame crystal he used was also the cause of Kaizhuxia's death. Yes, that's right. Xiaohua smiled bitterly. It was when your Xuanyan cult got the news of the fire essence flame crystal from Zhuqing Yuan that we went to Flaming Forest Marsh. Sigh. Xiao Mao sighed. He didn't expect that Kaizhuxia's death was related to him. But, senior brother, why did you follow me to Million Meng Mountains? Fairy Hongxia addressed Li Zongbao as her senior brother, and she had long regarded Li Zongbao as her family. Li Zongbao sighed, I've long heard that the soul cultivators in Million Meng Mountains have a secret technique that allows people to meet the dead. Previously, Majia wanted Xiaohua to accompany Majia to Lu Yang's Kai family. But, thinking about it, if I could meet Zhuxia in Million Meng Mountains, wouldn't that be even better? Senior brother. Fairy Hongxia bit her lips and nodded, since senior brother is so obsessed with my sister, I can rest in peace even in the underworld. Oh. Don't tell me, you didn't go to Million Meng Mountains for this reason. Li Zongbao hurriedly asked. Xiaohua had already thought about it. He didn't seem to have given the communication talisman that he refined to other female cultivators. Why don't you see for yourself? Fairy Hongxia smiled. N. Xiaohua stretched out his hand, took the communication talisman, and sent his divine sense into it. It was fine if he didn't see it, but once he saw it, his expression changed drastically. He didn't have time to explain anything and said to Li Zongbao and the rest, "You all follow the disciples to Sky Patrol City first. Over here, a close relative's life is in danger, I can't not go. Once I'm done, I'll immediately rush to Sky Patrol City to look for you all." After saying that, without waiting for Fairy Hongxia to say anything, Xiaohua's figure flashed as lightning flashed around his body. He used the hibernating thunder escape and flew towards the direction of the communication talisman. When the time comes, my heavenly devil sect will be famous all over the world. At that time, who knows how many people will want to join my heavenly devil sect. Not to mention wanting to be my heavenly devil sect's vice sect master. Xiaohua shrugged and curled his lips, not caring at all. He even snorted from his nose and said, "Whoever wants to be can be, this young master doesn't like it." "Your grandmother." Zhang Qingshao scolded and shouted, "You want to be? I won't let you be. It's just a vice sect master, why would this young master care? If this young master wants to be, I'll also be the sect master." Xiaohua muttered unwillingly in his heart. Zhang Qingxiao's heart moved and she said with a smile, "Oh, that's right. Could it be that junior brother also wants to establish a sect?" Xiaohua was somewhat depressed. Facing this second senior brother of a devil cultivator, he couldn't gain any advantage. He still revealed a trace of flaw in his words. Even if this young master wants to, he won't pick any time. Xiaohua hurriedly made up for it. At this point, he suddenly had a kind of realization and slapped his forehead. I also understand. The opportunity that the famous heavenly devil sect master is looking for, is the great battle of nascent soul Dao cultivators. Zhang Qingshao didn't have the slightest intention to be angry from being guessed. She said with a smile, "That's right, you finally have a trace of awareness and thought of this matter. This old master is avoiding nascent soul cultivators to establish a sect, what's there to be ashamed of? This old master hasn't reached nascent soul cultivation yet." At this point, Zhang Qingshao seemed to have thought of something and said curiously, "That's right, the sword cultivators have already led the Dao sect cultivators into the sword tomb. Why didn't you go? Your Dao sect's disciples are probably going to die this time. Don't you feel heartache?" This young master doesn't feel heartache. What's the matter? Xiaohua blinked his eyes. He knew that although Zhang Qingshao sent disciples to be concerned about the great battle of Dao cultivators and prepare for the establishment of her heavenly devil sect, this great battle was after all within the sword tomb. It was still very difficult for the devil sect's disciples to investigate. Even when the sword tomb changed, the heavenly devil sect's disciples didn't have time to report the specific situation to Zhang Qingshao. Look at your appearance. Zhang Qingshao was a bit puzzled. Haven't you always bemoaned the state of the universe and pitied the fate of mankind? Haven't you always saved the ignorant from water and fire? Why did you change your attitude this time? Oh, that's right, did you finish giving out the spirit seeds again? Zhang Qingxiao's sentence reminded Xiaohua. Xiaohua unceremoniously slapped his hand and took out another storage pouch. Are you done? Zhang Qingxiao was really flustered and exasperated. This old master came to find you, not to ask you for rice seeds. Then what exactly do you want? Xiaohua said with a smile and still threw the storage pouch to Zhang Qingxiao. Damn your grandmother. Zhang Qingxiao also laughed and took the storage pouch and put it in her bosom. She seemed to be the same as Xiaohua, to anything and everyone, she had a feeling of being at ease. However, when it came to this mysterious junior brother Xiao, she didn't have any confidence. She had a feeling of having a guilty conscience, so when they met, they opposed each other with equal harshness. Sarcastically retorting was a kind of uncontrollable behavior. "What you did, don't you know?" Zhang Qingxiao laughed and asked again. Xiao Hua was even more baffled and asked curiously, "What did I do?" How come I don't know?" "On the contrary, you know." Where did you get the Buddhist cultivation method that you gave to Jiang Luer?" Zhang Qingxiao said with a cold snort. "After Luer read your cultivation method, she immediately fainted." Junior sister has never used the messaging talisman before, but this time she urgently sent a message to me. Luer is her favorite. "The good thing you did, don't tell me you want me to clean up your mess." "How is that possible?" Xiao Hua turned pale with fright and said anxiously, "That Buddhist cultivation method was obtained from the Yin-Yang Twin Springs Mountain from a Buddhist cultivator's storage pouch. Although I didn't practice it, it's indeed orthodox Buddhist. Even the Buddhist weapon in the storage pouch is very powerful. Whether it's orthodox Buddhist or not, I don't know. I'm only the sect leader of the heavenly demonic sect, not the sect leader of the Buddhist sect." Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand and said, "This matter started because of you, so you have to solve it. If I don't look for you, who else should I look for? Why didn't you tell me earlier about such a big matter?" Xiao Hua said anxiously, "Why are you still dawdling here with me?" Xiao Hua said and was about to fly into the air. "Now you're anxious." Zhang Qingxiao sneered, "Luer has been unconscious for many days. According to junior sister, his life is not in danger. Besides, why didn't you go to the Sky Patrol City to use the teleportation formation? Why did you fly to the wilderness in the south?" I know there's a teleportation formation in the Sky Patrol City," Xiao Hua said evasively. "Ha ha ha. You killed Tu Hong, right?" Zhang Qingxiao laughed, "You really have guts. You actually killed Tu Hong in front of the Shui region sage. This kind of thing. Even I wouldn't dare to do it. That bastard Tu Hong deserves to die." Xiao Hua narrowed his eyes and looked at Zhang Qingxiao. He didn't hide it and said hatefully, "He plotted to kill hundreds of thousands of disciples and even wanted to harm the disciples of the Imperial Thunder sect. If I don't kill him, who should I kill?" "You killed him to your heart's content," Zhang Qingxiao said coldly. "From what I can see, apart from Tu Hong who is a talented commander, the rest of the Dao sect cultivators are just a motley crew. By killing Tu Hong, you are personally leading the Dao sect cultivators to destruction. So what if it's destruction? This kind of person who offends the heavens and reason can't be allowed to live in this world. Even if he has great talent," Xiao Hua said unceremoniously. TSK. What right do you have to say that?" Zhang Qingxiao smirked. "That's what I want to do." "So what?" Xiao Hua sneered, "Are you going to leave or not?" Of course I'm leaving, but you have to wait a moment." Zhang Qingxiao stretched out a finger and shook it slightly. Xiao Hua suddenly realized that Zhang Qingxiao didn't have time to talk nonsense with him. So there was something else. Thus, Xiao Hua didn't say anything. He clapped his hands and took out a few spirit pills from the space and put them into his mouth, slowly refining his true origin. When he was condensing his gold core in the sword tomb, he had opened up a set of foundation establishment meridians in an inconceivably short amount of time. The foundation establishment realm of this set of meridians was extremely unstable, and at the same time, it also led to the instability of his gold core realm. Therefore, his main task now was to stabilize these newly opened meridians and stabilize his gold core realm. Xiao Hua knew that no one could answer him in this kind of situation. He could only cultivate according to the foundation establishment cultivation method. He would first refine his true essence, and after his realm had stabilized, he would then practice the gold core cultivation method. But then, Zhang Qingshao shook his head again. No, this is not the real spirit-slaying vital light. The real spirit-slaying vital light is pale white. Oh, I understand. This is the spirit-slaying vital light that hasn't been refined yet. Oh my, it's really the most ferocious thing in the demon realm. Zhang Qingshao almost shrank his neck. This is just the spirit-slaying vital light that hasn't been refined yet, but it has such power. I can't resist it. Then, Zhang Qingshao laughed again. Ha ha ha, the heavens are really helping me. Junior brother has this spirit-slaying vital light. Why would I be afraid of someone from the devil's sect? You're thinking too much. Xiaohua sneered. I just got this thing and haven't refined it yet. I don't even know how to use it. That's easy. Zhang Qingshao beamed with joy and returned the yin-yang sword gourd to Xiaohua. He slapped his forehead with his palm, and a strange fluctuation rippled out from between his eyebrows. In an instant, it covered Zhang Qingshao. Then, the fluctuation seeped out traces of black smoke. The black smoke extended out like tentacles and danced with the fluctuation, gradually covering Zhang Qingxiao's figure. Xiaohua naturally knew that Zhang Qingxiao was using the devil's sect secret technique, so he released his spiritual sense to help him be on guard. In the blink of an eye, the black smoke around Zhang Qingxiao's body slowly disappeared, and his figure was also revealed. However, it was obvious that Zhang Qingxiao's face was slightly pale, and it seemed that the loss was not small. This is the devil qi. Xiaohua looked at the black smoke around Zhang Qingxiao and thought, if you want to cultivate the devil technique, you must have devil qi. I don't know how second senior brother did it. But if I ask, it will definitely involve his privacy. Forget it, everyone's fate is different. Why should I cultivate the devil technique? The refining of the 5 elements wishful heaven staff doesn't necessarily need the devil technique. Seeing the black smoke disappear, Zhang Qingshao slapped his hand and took out a jade slip from his chest. The black smoke in his hand lingered endlessly. After a cup of tea's time, Zhang Qingshao let out a long breath and threw the jade slip to Xiaohua. He said somewhat tiredly, Here, this is the refining and usage method of the Death Spirit Yuan Light. I used the Devil's Sex technique to record it. You can also use the Buddhist sect spiritual sense to check it. I won't waste any effort. Thank you, second senior brother. Xiaohua didn't look at it and immediately put it into his space. He said very respectfully. Don't thank me. I'm doing this for myself. Zhang Qingshao waved his hand and said, This Death Spirit Yuan Light is extremely powerful, and the refining process is also extremely complicated. Even if you're in the Dawn Rain continent, it's unlikely that you can successfully refine it. Xiaohua was startled, and then he said with a smile, I didn't intend to refine the Death Spirit Yuan Light, as long as I can control it. I didn't expect second senior brother to be so generous. It's just. Here, I might as well give it to you all at once. Zhang Qingshao waved his hand. Is that so? Is there still a golden core cultivation method? Is there still a nascent soul cultivation method? Xiaohua asked shamelessly. Zhang Qingshao covered his storage pouch and said resolutely, Don't even think about it. Do you know what the Death Spirit Yuan Light is? It's the primordial killing light that can kill all living things. Once covered by this killing light, all living things will have no way to survive. With this Death Spirit Yuan Light, it's more powerful than any nascent soul cultivation method. As long as you successfully refine this Death Spirit Yuan Light, who in the Dawn Rain continent can be your opponent? Che, you already said that this Death Spirit Yuan Light is in the Dawn Rain continent. Speaking up to here, Xiaohua suddenly froze. That's right. Even someone as powerful as Zhang Qingshao didn't know the refining method of the Death Spirit Yuan Light, and even the method to use it. How could fallen Gold Mountain's Yu family know? The strangest thing was that Yu Qingtian was dead, and this Yu Tong seemed to be younger than him. How could he refine the Death Spirit Yuan Light? Of course, fallen Gold Mountain's Yu family might also have an inheritance, but this inheritance seemed to point directly to the 10,000 demon realm. What's wrong? Zhang Qingshao also saw the deep shock in Xiaohua's eyes, and asked curiously. Little brother was just about to tell second senior brother about Zhang Yuha's death. Immediately, Xiaohua didn't dare to hide anything, and hurriedly recounted what he encountered in the sword tomb. What? 100,000, hundreds of thousands of cultivators, blood sacrifice. Damn it, is my heavenly demon sect a demon sect? Or is this fallen Gold Mountain's Yu family, or Huanhua sect a demon sect? Zhang Qingshao was really shocked. Even if I want to sacrifice cultivators, I still have to think about it, right? In this world, what is a demon? What is Tao? If a demon is good, then it's Tao. If a Taoist is evil, then it's a demon. Xiaohua said coldly, otherwise, how could I recognize you as second senior brother? Chapter 2706. I really don't care about letting you recognize this second senior brother. Zhang Qingshao also sneered. I just see that you can see so far with just a foundation establishment stage cultivation base, so I reluctantly treat you as my junior brother. Speaking of this, Zhang Qingshao frowned again. This fallen Gold Mountain's Yu family is a bit strange. How can they have the method to refine the soul-punishing light? And they dare to brazenly set up a large array in the sword tomb to perform a blood sacrifice. In particular, they intercepted Zhang Yuha. Could it be that this Yu family is a descendant of the 10,000 demon realm? What kind of place is the 10,000 demon realm? Xiaohua was too lazy to argue with Zhang Qingshao and asked. It's a realm like the Devil Realm and Dawn Rain Continent. Zhang Qingshao glanced at Xiaohua and said hesitantly, there is a space channel between the 10,000 demon realm, Dawn Rain Continent and the Devil Realm, so the three can sometimes be connected. The ancestor of the Yu family may have come from the 10,000 demon realm to Dawn Rain Continent through the space channel and lived here, leaving the method to refine the soul-punishing light in Dawn Rain Continent. What is a realm? What is a space channel? Xiaohua's eyes lit up and immediately asked. Zhang Qingshao saw Xiaohua's joy and was also surprised. He naturally knew that Xiaohua's memory had some flaws and knew what Xiaohua thought of. Don't think blindly. You are definitely not from the 10,000 demon realm. Zhang Qingshao shook his head. With your cultivation base, how can you pass through the space channel? Why? Xiaohua hurriedly asked. Take a look. Zhang Qingshao waved his hand and an irregular plane appeared in front of them, bright like glass. What is a realm? I also don't know. Don't ask too much, I just got the inheritance of the Devil Realm. It's already good that I know this. Zhang Qingshao pointed at the plane and said, for example, this is the so-called realm, you and I are all ants on this plane. Xiaohua's eyes were bright as he carefully stared at the mirror as if he wanted to find something from it. Just looking at the middle of this realm. You won't find anything. Zhang Qingshao pointed at the edge of the plane and said, you have to look here carefully. Oh. Here. Xiaohua's eyes flashed. He saw that there were many hair-like twists and turns at the edges. This is called a spatial vein. Zhang Qingshao pointed at the twists and turns that were as thin as hair and said, it is said that the middle of this interface is very stable, but the surroundings are not. It is even very chaotic. Perhaps it is the part of the interface that was not mature during its formation. These spatial veins, aren't there a lot of them? Xiao Hua was shocked. Probably. Zhang Qingxiao wasn't very sure either. These are all extremely mysterious or useless things for cultivation. I'm not very clear about them either. And then? What is? When Xiao Hua said this, his eyes suddenly lit up. He also waved his hand and another mirror appeared beside him. Then he pointed at it again. The mirror seemed to shatter and many cracks appeared. Many of them were intertwined with the previous cracks. That was a spatial passage. Xiao Hua pointed at the connection between the two mirrors and said, "No." Unexpectedly, Zhang Qingxiao shook her head with a smile. She pointed at the intersections and said, "These are called space nodes. Or perhaps it's a spatial crack." Why is it not a spatial passage? Xiao Hua was stunned. The spiritual energy of the two interfaces is different. Even the creatures are different. They are completely different things. Zhang Qingxiao calmly pointed at the two surfaces and said, "The spiritual energy in their spatial veins is also different. Where the two veins intersect, the spiritual energy is unusually violent. The so-called spatial storm and spatial tearing are normal things. If there is no... Damn it, I can't tell what cultivation level it is. Anyway, no one can pass through this node. Even the demon spirits of the 10,000 demon realm would be torn to pieces here." That's true. Xiao Hua pointed at the sky and said, "If these spatial cracks can be passed through, the channels between the two interfaces are indeed too many." Yes. Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand again, and the numerous twists and turns flickered slightly. However, when they flickered, many of the twists and turns were annihilated. In the end, only a dozen twists and turns were still flashing. "These are the spatial passages," Zhang Qingxiao said. Xiao Hua bit his lips slightly and looked carefully. He saw that these twists and turns were thicker than the ones on the left. The twists and turns between the two planes were almost parallel. There were no obvious nodes between the two intersecting twists and turns. Instead, there were some places where they overlapped. "Little brother understands." Xiao Hua sighed and said, "The spatial range of the nodes is too small. The impact of the spiritual energy of the two interfaces is too great here. It can't be used at all. And where the two parallel intersecting spatial veins overlap, the impact of the two types of spiritual energy will be buffered. Although there are spatial storms and other things, they are relatively small and easy to pass through." Zhang Qingxiao clapped her hands and said, "Yes, that's right. The more the spatial veins overlap, the more stable the spatial passage is, and the smaller the spatial storm inside. Of course, the bigger the spatial veins, the bigger the spatial storm, and the more stable the passage is, and the smaller the spatial veins, the smaller the spatial storm, and the more unstable the passage is. Little brother understands." Chapter 2709. Master Qianlei flicked his sleeves and glanced at the Foundation establishment disciple beside Crazy Heaven with a strange expression. Crazy Heaven was slightly taken aback, but he stood there obediently and didn't ask any questions. Disciple Zhen Qin greet sect master. The Foundation establishment disciple saw that Crazy Heaven didn't speak, so he had to speak up himself and bowed. "Crazy Heaven, who is he?" Master Qianlei asked. He is a disciple of Jade Archive Hall, Crazy Heaven answered when Master Qianlei asked him. I met him outside the hall and brought him along. What do you want? Master Qianlei said impatiently, which disciple's life spirit tablet broke again. Yes, sect master will know. Seeing that Master Qianlei was in a bad mood, Zhen Qinqin hurriedly took out 2 jade slips and respectfully handed them over. This time there are too many life spirit tablets broken. The disciples of Jade Archive Hall are busy counting them. Junior was afraid of delay, so I sent a batch over first. Also, the disciple who sent the jade slips last time hasn't returned to Jade Archive Hall. I'm afraid he accidentally fell into the forbidden area of the sect. Hall Master Zhen didn't notice it in time. I'm afraid Sect Master didn't receive the jade slips last time, so he sent me another one. You can leave. Master Qianlei finally understood why the news of Qian Mo's death didn't arrive until today. Naturally, he wouldn't get angry at this Foundation establishment disciple. He lightly waved his hand and signaled Crazy Heaven to take the jade slips and let the disciple leave. When the Jade Archive Hall disciples' footsteps gradually disappeared from the hall, the entire Great Thunder Hall fell into silence. Sigh, it's been hard on Qian Mo this child. Fairy Xianhua sighed again and broke the silence. This old one didn't expect that he would make such a choice. That's right. Let me walk my path. I am alone, and I have no regrets. Qian Mo, this child's heart is filled with so much bitterness, and how much he wants our Imperial Thunder sect to rise. Reverend Miyu also sighed with emotion. If he didn't have this ambition, how could he say such a thing? How could he do such an admirable thing? Xing Yunzi bit his lips as his face turned red. He blamed himself. This subordinate didn't think that Qian Mo would have such lofty ambitions and have such magnificent achievements. This subordinate is inferior. Previously, this subordinate had done some things and felt that it was amazing. I felt that I had contributed greatly to the Imperial Thunder sect. But now, compared to Qian Mo, this subordinate feels inferior. Please punish me, sect leader. Forget it. Everyone has their own talents and goals. Qianlei Zi waved his hand. You've done what you should do, why should I blame you? Sigh, it's not just Qian Mo. Which of the Imperial Thunder sect's disciples who died in the great battle of Dao cultivators wasn't a hero of my sect? They might not necessarily lack Qian Mo's ambition, they might not necessarily lack Qian Mo's lofty aspirations. It's just that they didn't even have the opportunity to say it out loud like Qian Mo did. Qianlei Zi sighed slightly. He looked up at Guangtian and asked, Gantian, how is the matter with Nameless? Reporting to Sect Master. Guangtian bowed. This subordinate has thoroughly investigated 4 out of the 8 Great Lightning Palaces, disciple by disciple. But until now, there have been no clues. And, slowly investigate. You should find out who this Nameless is. Qianlei Zi nodded. Now, in this great battle of Dao cultivators, other than Qian Mo being a hero respected by all sects, Nameless is a hero that all sects are grateful to. Our Imperial Thunder sect is the sect with the most meritorious service in this great battle of Dao cultivators. Ah! Nameless, what did he do again? Guangtian was shocked. Qian Mo, what happened again? In order to defeat the sword cultivators and protect the lives of tens of thousands of our Imperial Thunder sect's disciples, Qian Mo sacrificed his own life. Kunlun sect's Yuan Zhongyu spread his last words to the entire Sky Patrol city. Miyu glanced at Qianlei Zi and explained, as for Nameless, he even formed his nascent soul in the sword tomb. He broke through the sword cultivators' formation and used his own strength to deter a group of illusory swordsmen. He saved the golden core cultivators and the remaining 100,000 Dao cultivators from the sword tomb. Ah! Nameless, formed his nascent soul. Quang was shocked, but there was a trace of joy on his face. Our Imperial Thunder sect has another nascent soul cultivator? And I'm afraid so. Qian Lazy nodded, but now, we need to find out which Thunder Palace this nameless disciple belongs to. Why do I feel that there is something fishy about this? Of course. Lazy Jinren laughed. How many late-stage Golden Core disciples do we have in our sect? Which one of them has the hope of forming his nascent soul? But this nameless has the Thunder Escape technique and the Thunder Summoning technique. Moreover, he is a late-stage Golden Core disciple. We have never heard of him before. This is really strange. Then, how many disciples are left in our Imperial Thunder sect? Quang peeked at Qian Lazy and asked in a low voice. Our Imperial Thunder sect claims to have more than 100,000 disciples. In fact, we sent out more than 80,000 disciples. Previously, nearly 10,000 of them returned. Now, we have lost 60,000. How many do you think we have left? Qian Lazy said lightly. Hiss. Quang gasped and said in surprise, only 10,000. This is still considered good. Qian Lazy sneered. Qian Ping said it clearly just now. Due to the special physique of our Imperial Thunder sect's disciples, the spirit-devouring array was less harmful to our disciples. The other sects lost thousands of their disciples in this battle. Damn it! That sword cultivator is too arrogant. His methods are too vicious. Quang Jinren could not help but curse. However, he immediately shut his mouth. Fairy Yao Feng, who had been silent all this time, spoke again. There is one thing that this subordinate does not understand. Sect Master, please explain. Speak. Although Qian Mo died a heroic death, he had a righteous cause. However, this subordinate feels that he was not capable enough to take on this responsibility. This is a mistake in itself. Fairy Yao Feng said without any trace of politeness. Moreover, Qian Mo has always been a stickler for the rules. He even acted willfully, junior sister. Fairy Xianhua frowned. The dead should be respected. Although this child Qian Mo had many shortcomings, he had our Imperial Thunder sect in his heart. Since he was willing to die for our Imperial Thunder sect, all his shortcomings are nothing. Sigh. Yao Feng, this sect master knows what you mean. Qian Lazy sighed and said, you are blaming this sect master. This sect master did not choose the right person. Not only did we push Qian Mo to his death, we also caused 60,000 Imperial Thunder sect disciples to die in the wilderness. Fairy Yao Feng shook her head and said, this subordinate does not dare to blame sect master. After all, sect master is able to judge the situation and devise strategies. Since sect master sent Qian Mo, there must be a reason for sect master to send him. This subordinate has always had this question but did not dare to ask. Now that the battle has reached this stage, could Lord Sect Master dispel this subordinate's doubts? This matter is indeed extremely secretive. Master Qian Lei waved his hand, and a bolt of lightning struck the pillar of the enormous Thunder Palace. The pillar began to glow with lightning, and surged up to the roof of the palace. Countless purple lightning bolts flashed, and covered the entire enormous Thunder Palace. Actually, this sect sent Qian Mo, because we had no other choice. Qian Lazy opened his mouth. What's more, you might not know that except for Qian Mo, a cultivator at the middle stage of Gold Core Realm, all the other sect's disciples are at most at the middle stage of Gold Core Realm. Obviously, Thunder Meng Daoist and the others were clear about this news. There was no trace of shock on their faces. Fairy Yao Feng nodded and said, that's right. Since the Golden Core disciples in the Imperial Thunder Palace are only at middle Gold Core cultivators and there is not even a late Gold Core disciple, how can they fight against a third-grade illusory swordsman and win? This battle, our Dao sect, did not plan to win. Qian Lei Zi's words shocked everyone. Why? Thunder Mang Daoist asked anxiously, since you did not plan to win, why did you send hundreds of thousands or even millions of disciples? Are we sending them to their deaths? That's right, you are right. Lei Meng sent them to their deaths. Qian Lei Zi said coldly. How is this possible? Everyone was completely confused. Quang-Tianjinren narrowed his eyes and seemed to be thinking about something. Qian Lei Zi looked at everyone and then at Quang-Tianjinren and asked, how did you reach the nascent soul stage? Sect Master, I had some luck and obtained a drop of Zhongyao milk. Quang-Tianjinren did not dare to hide anything and replied. Qian Lei Zi did not ask further and only said, what if you could not obtain this drop of Zhongyao milk? I am afraid that I will reach the end of my lifespan and will not be able to reach the nascent soul stage. Quang-Tianjinren said honestly, now that the heaven and earth Ling Qi in the Xiaoyu continent has changed, it is 10 times harder for us to reach the nascent soul stage. That's right, the heaven and earth Ling Qi has changed. Qian Lei Zi pointed his finger and said, but, who is the benefit of the heaven and earth Ling Qi change? Seeing that no one answered and Qian Lei Zi was pointing at him, Quang-Tianjinren could only say, according to what I know, some disciples of the cultivation families in the Heavenly Thunder Palace have improved rapidly under the heaven and earth Ling Qi change. Yes. That's it. Qian Lei Zi clapped his hands and said, the heaven and earth Ling Qi change has been going on for dozens of years. Our cultivation sects in the 3 cultivation countries have not found the source of the change and have not found a way to deal with it. However, those cultivation families have stimulated their true bloodline because of the change in heaven and earth Ling Qi. Most of their disciples have improved by leaps and bounds in their cultivation and have the potential to surpass our cultivation sections. What do you think our cultivation sects should do? Kill. Reverend Miyu said coldly, I am afraid that the other sect masters have the same idea, right? That's right. Qian Lei Zi nodded and said, the other sect masters are worried that the power of the disciples of their cultivation sects will increase and they will not be able to control it, so they have been trying to stop it. The sword cultivators of the Huan country starting a sword Dao war is exactly what they want. Sending the disciples of the cultivation sects into the war is killing 2 birds with 1 stone, isn't it? But, the other sects are easy to deal with. They have chosen a lot of disciples from the cultivation sections. Even if they lose 100,000 or 200,000 disciples, they may not necessarily lose their blood-related disciples. But our Imperial Thunder sect is different. Fairy Yao Feng said with a bitter smile, 90% of the disciples of my Imperial Thunder sect are blood-related disciples. This is where our sect is in a difficult position. Qian Lei Zi did not hide it. Shanghua sect, Xuanyan school, Qiqiao sect and Huanhua sect have all sent their disciples. How can our Imperial Thunder sect not send any disciples? Their numbers couldn't be too much less than theirs. Although our sect knows that this is Shanghua sect's scheme against our Imperial Thunder sect, but how can our sect deal with it? The only thing our sect can do is to remind Xian Mo that no matter the outcome of the war, he only needs to protect the disciples of our Imperial Thunder sect. And Xian Mo has indeed done so. Sigh. If the Imperial Thunder sect is not strong, then I am not strong. If the Imperial Thunder sect is weak, then I am weak. I want to wield my sword and kill in all directions, using my strength to control the heavens. Reverend Lei Meng sighed with tears in his eyes. That's right, only now did the group of nascent soul cultivators know the bottom line of this sword war. Only now did they know the plan of the sect leaders of the cultivation sections. They could not help but lament the loss of 60,000 disciples of their Imperial Thunder sect. Furthermore, they also knew that although the loss of 60,000 disciples of the Imperial Thunder sect was considered small among all the sects, but the other sects might not be able to deal such a heavy blow. But what about the Imperial Thunder sect? Among the 60,000 disciples, most of them were blood-related disciples of the Imperial Thunder sect. They were truly capable. Although the war was cruel, the struggle between sects was not to be underestimated. Chapter 27:10. In the Great Thunder Hall, the eyes of the nascent soul cultivators flashed with anger. There was a kind of indignation in their hearts, a kind of helplessness similar to when Qian Imo self-detonated, a kind of desire similar to that of when Qian Imo self-detonated. It wasn't that they were stupid or incompetent. It wasn't that they couldn't see the filth in this great battle of Tao cultivators. It was just that they had no choice but to go with the flow and submit to this arrangement. It seemed that only at this moment did the nascent soul cultivators truly understand what Master Qian Lei of the Imperial Thunder sect was facing and what he was thinking about. Only at this moment did they understand why Master Qian Lei had asked the two palace masters for so long. He had paid attention to the ordinary matter of the Imperial Thunder sect recruiting disciples. It was because Master Qian Lei had long known that the Imperial Thunder sect would lose disciples. In order to prevent the Imperial Thunder sect status in the three kingdoms of cultivation, the Imperial Thunder sect had to seize the opportunity to recruit disciples. But obviously, the development of the situation was still beyond Master Qian Lei's expectations. No one expected that the sword cultivators would be so ruthless and set up such a huge ambush. If it wasn't for Xiaohua's appearance, the Imperial Thunder sect, no, the entire three kingdoms of Tao cultivators would not be able to escape from the four-square sword formation. Trying to be clever but making a fool of oneself, almost every nascent soul cultivator had the same thought after feeling helpless and angry. Sect Master. Crazy Heaven suddenly bowed and said, "This is the first time I've heard of such a truth in the great battle of Sword Tao. You've already reached the nascent soul stage. You'll have plenty of opportunities to learn this cruel truth in the future." Master Qian Lei said lightly. "Yes, I understand." Kuang Tian said respectfully, "Sect Master, it is our blessing to be able to face this kind of pressure alone. This subordinate truly admires Sect Master. Alas, it's not that I don't want to tell you. Even if I did, it would only add to your troubles." After Qian Lei Zi told the truth, he let out a sigh of relief. Damn it, Splendid Sect, Xuanyan School, and Qiqiao Sect. They didn't even wait for me to say a word to the Huanhua Sect before deciding on this matter. Yes, just as Sect Master said, the competition between sects is more important than the Battle of Sword Tao. Crazy Heaven nodded and said, "Fortunately, although my Imperial Thunder sect has lost many disciples, there is still a nascent soul disciple like Nameless. I'm sure Sect Master knows this better than I do. If a nascent soul cultivator could cultivate the lightning escape technique to the Imperial Thunder Transformation Realm, then it would be a piece of cake for him to enter the Divine Transformation Realm after forming the nascent soul. This John Doe alone can make up for the losses of our Imperial Thunder sect." Oh. Imperial Thunder Transformation. Qian Lei Zi glanced at Daoist Miyu with some doubt. What, did Can Xing say something wrong? All right, the sect master understands. That's exactly it. Crazy Heaven explained. I interrogated Can Xing in detail. Because the thunder evasion technique of the Canlei Palace is a little different from that of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, and Can Xing has never seen anyone perform the Imperial Thunder Scare, let alone a large-scale thunder attracting technique, he somewhat overestimated John Doe's thunder evasion technique. According to Palace Master Miyu and this subordinate speculations, Nameless Thunder Escape technique should be at the Imperial Thunder Travel Realm. At most, it should be at the Imperial Thunder Transformation realm. Who would have thought that crazy Heaven Cultivator would bow again and say, "Lord Sect Master, you flatter me. This is just a small Tao that can't enter the Hall of Elegance." That Sun Yunzi was just embarrassed to lose face, so he casually dealt with it with this subordinate. The one he is afraid of is junior brother Wu Ming. Only junior brother Wu Ming, this kind of mysterious person who is rumored to be able to destroy the sword catacomb with a raise of his hand, is a thorn in their flesh. Good. Qian Lazy nodded. Guangtian, we should continue to look for Wu Ming. After all, if we can find Wu Ming, our Imperial Thunder Sect will have some confidence, and our Imperial Thunder Sect can also help Wu Ming step into the separating divinity stage. This must be what Wu Ming needs, right? Yes. Subordinate understands. Crazy Heaven nodded and replied. But there is no need to be as urgent as now. Qian Lei said again, you take Kenshin and find the surviving disciples, as well as the disciples of the other sects, and carefully investigate. I will also find an opportunity to kowtow to the several old ancestors, and make a good plan for the future of our Imperial Thunder Sect. Yes, subordinate understands. Crazy Heaven replied respectfully. Qian Lei looked at Crazy Heaven and Xing Yunzi and said kindly, you two reached the nascent soul stage one after the other, which is a joyous occasion for our Imperial Thunder Sect. But because of the war, we didn't hold a celebration for you. We have wronged you. Good, Sect Master understands. We were only able to step into the nascent soul stage because of the sect's strength. If the sect requires this celebration, we will hold it. If the sect doesn't need it, we can naturally choose not to hold it. Daoist Crazed Heaven looked at Xing Yunzi and both of them said the same thing. Good, the big picture is the most important. This is the true disciple of our Imperial Thunder Sect. Qian Lei laughed and turned to Fairy Xianhua. Xianhua, I will go into seclusion in a few days. You can discuss all the important matters of the Imperial Thunder Sect. If there is a difficult decision, you can call me out. Of course, if it is not a matter of the survival of our Imperial Thunder Sect, do not disturb me from comprehending the mysteries of the late nascent soul stage. Sect Master. Spiritual Master Miyu, Spiritual Master Lei Zi, and the others were overjoyed. Sect Master is really going to enter the late nascent soul stage. You are not fooling Sun Yunzi. Ha ha ha, yes. Although I am fooling Sun Yunzi, I really should have made some progress. I have obtained the thunder-devouring bead for dozens of years and have comprehended it for a long time. All of you have made some progress. If I don't step into the late nascent soul stage, it will be hard to explain. Qian Lei smiled. Congratulations, Sect Master, congratulations, Sect Master. Everyone stood up and bowed. Now that Sect Master has entered the late nascent soul stage, our Imperial Thunder Sect will be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the three sects of the country of Shi. It is still early. Qian Lei waved his hand. I don't know how long this seclusion will take. No matter how long it will take, our Imperial Thunder Sect will wait. Fairy Xianhua said with a smile. What a pity. This thunder-devouring bead was found by that child Qinghua. There is still no news from him. Qian Lei sighed. As for that Xiaohua who sent the thunder-devouring bead, there has been no news since he killed Qin Jian. I don't know if he can survive the war. Rest assured, Sect Master. Heaven helps the worthy. Martial nephew Qinghua is a man of great fortune. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found the thunder-devouring bead. He will definitely return to Sky Thunder Peak safely. Crazy Heaven Cultivator said with a smile. As for Xiaohua, How can a cultivator who killed Qin Jian be an ordinary person? Although Xiao Hua is only a Foundation establishment disciple, he is very clever. The moment he arrived at Sky Patrol City, he established a relationship with Li Zongbao from the Utopia faction. In the war, even if he can't kill the enemy, he can at least protect himself. Yes, during the last reward, Qian Mo said that he wasn't in Sky Patrol City, but was sending messages outside. I don't think he will go to the Sword Catacomb. Qian Lazy nodded and looked at Thunder Meng Immortal. The first team of your Imperial Thunder sect is indeed extraordinary. I don't dare. It is all thanks to Sect Master's good judgment. Thunder Meng Immortal was happy and quickly smiled. Forget it. During this period of time, I will prepare to enter seclusion. You can deploy the troops. Qian Lazy waved his hand and said, your mission is the same as Qian Mo's, which is to protect the lives of our Imperial Thunder Sect disciples. We understand. We will listen to Sect Master's orders. Miyu Immortal and Crazy Heaven Cultivator bowed and answered. Unexpectedly, as the Sect Master of the Imperial Thunder Sect, Qian Lazy still remembered Xiao Hua's first contribution when he joined the Imperial Thunder Sect decades ago. As for this contribution, perhaps even Xiao Hua himself had already forgotten about it. After all, the thunder-devouring bead was really far away from him. What he was thinking about now was the teleportation device of the Heavenly Demon Sect. Xiao Hua took advantage of Zhang Qingxiao's black jade arrow boat and set off towards Yellow Flower Ridge. After flying for a few days, he arrived at an extremely desolate place. In this desolate valley, under the snow-covered stone layer, there was a simple teleportation device. Walking out of this teleportation device, Xiao Hua flew towards a strange place. After a few days, he arrived at a secular town. Chapter 27:12. Zhang Qingxiao took out the black jade arrow boat from her storage pouch and flew up. When Xiao Hua also boarded, she controlled the flying boat and sneered, what do you know about arrays? The arrays on the Dawn Rain continent have long declined. My teleportation array isn't something the ordinary arrays on the Dawn Rain continent can compare to. If I were to reveal this array formation to the outside world, wouldn't the cultivation sects of the Three Kingdoms target me and fight to the death with me? As for your Grand Universe teleportation token, to tell you the truth, I don't care about it. Zhang Qingxiao glanced at Xiao Hua and said, that thing is used by Yin Meng to build a super long-distance teleportation array from the country of Shi to Mount Meng. I'm still worried about people coming from there. Why would I want your Grand Universe teleportation token? You should keep it for yourself. Speaking up to here, Zhang Qingxiao even exhorted, actually, according to my plan, you should destroy that thing right now. Let me give the Grand Universe teleportation token that can't be repaired to Yin Mei so that he can stop thinking about it. However, I know you're the most stingy and can't bear to part with this thing. Since you can't bear to part with it, you should keep it well and not let others take it away from you. This is really a hot potato. Xiao Hua smiled bitterly, I can't get rid of it no matter what. Why can't you get rid of it? You can't bear to part with it. Zhang Qingxiao hit the nail on the head. You're the one who can't bear to part with it. Xiao Hua curled his lips and said, I have the Capital Star Array here. Do you want it? Capital Star Array. You really have it. Zhang Qingxiao's body trembled and the black jade arrow boat almost stopped in midair. Really, as long as you give me your teleportation array. Xiao Hua said proudly. Unfortunately, Xiao Hua miscalculated this time. Zhang Qingxiao closed her eyes for a long time and shook her head, I'm afraid. I can't promise you this. This teleportation array is the foundation of my Heavenly Demon Sect. It's not a big deal to give it to you. However, I know that you have feelings for the Imperial Thunder sect. Who knows when you'll give the teleportation array to the Imperial Thunder sect on a whim. This is a huge threat to my heavenly demon sect. Besides, the capital star array is an ancient ominous array. Even if you have it, you can't comprehend it, I can't. Rather than holding on to this kind of chicken rib, it's better not to have it. Zhang Qingshao added, are you sure you don't want it? Xiao Hua said somewhat unwillingly. Hee, don't mention this again. Zhang Qingshao was still very principled. She waved her hand, but when she saw that Xiao Hua was a little disappointed, she couldn't help but explain, actually, this teleportation array is different from the teleportation array on the Dawn Rain continent. When the cultivators of the Dao sect obtained the array, they could only study how to destroy it. It's basically impossible to set it up successfully. Oh, I understand. Xiao Hua suddenly understood. Is this the technique of your demon realm? That's as good. Zhang Qingshao nodded and looked into the distance. We'll reach Yellow Flower Ridge in a few days. You should try to comprehend the spirit-slaying light. I still need it to save my life. Yes, I understand. Xiao Hua understood and sat cross-legged on the black jade arrow boat. He calmly comprehended the devil slip given by Zhang Qingshao. As for the mind and the space, Xiao Hua let it continue to comprehend the sword-controlling technique. Moreover, since Xiao Hua sent all his primordial spirits out of the sword tomb and went through the thunder tribulation in the heart sword, he felt that these primordial spirits had a strange change. It was impossible for him to cultivate step by step like an ordinary cultivator, so he could only find a new path. Moreover, this primordial spirit-splitting technique was extremely suitable for his needs. If he cultivated with several primordial spirits together, cultivating for 1 year was equivalent to cultivating for several years for others. If you wanted him to suddenly cut off his wrists, he would have to be resolute in order to do so. Not to mention, at this moment, he had only tasted the sweetness of the primordial spirit-splitting technique, and had yet to taste the bitterness. Everything was just a feeling. Seeing Xiao Hua closing his eyes and meditating, Zhang Qingshao was very gratified. He tried his best to urge the inky jade arrow boat, but how could he know that Xiao Hua's mind had long been open, and his speed was even faster than the inky jade arrow boat. Zhang Qingshao said that it would take a few days, but after flying for more than 10 days, they finally arrived at Yellow Flower Ridge. Seeing the familiar thick fog in his divine sense, Xiao Hua couldn't help but stand up. Zhang Qingshao, who was steering the boat, also revealed a smile in his eyes. Yellow Flower Ridge is nearby. You didn't set up a transmission formation? Xiao Hua asked with some surprise. Yellow Flower Ridge is Yellow Flower Ridge, not the Heavenly Demon sect. This is what I promised you earlier. Zhang Qingshao wasn't surprised at Xiao Hua's question and replied proudly. But if something happens to Yellow Flower Ridge, can you be the fastest to arrive? Xiao Hua was dissatisfied. If something happens to senior sister, can you bear the responsibility? Zhang Qingshao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He scolded, you're the one who didn't let me manage Yellow Flower Ridge, and you're the one who let me manage Yellow Flower Ridge. What do you want me to do? Do I care or not? I only said that I don't want you to care about Yellow Flower Ridge. I didn't say that I don't want you to care about senior sister. Xiao Hua retorted without any trace of politeness. Zhang Qingshao snorted and said, you don't need to care about this, I naturally have a way. Didn't I arrive very quickly last time? You better have a way. Xiao Hua sneered, otherwise, I won't let your heavenly demon sect have an easy time. Who do you think you are? You think you can shake my heavenly demon sect? Zhang Qingshao was displeased, you might have been able to before, but now. I'm afraid you don't have the strength. In the future, don't even talk about it. I'm not boasting, but in the future, other than my heavenly demon sect, who else can be called the #1 sect on the Dawn Rain mainland? Hee, I don't believe it. Xiaohua naturally had his own fortune gate. He knew that the fortune gate's potential was definitely not inferior to the heavenly demon sect. If you don't believe me, I won't compete with you, just wait and see. Zhang Qingxiao said through her nose. Why aren't we moving? Seeing that they were still far from Yellow Flower Ridge, Zhang Qingxiao stopped the black jade arrow boat. Xiaohua said with dissatisfaction, aren't we just talking about your heavenly demon sect? You don't have to stop us from riding the flying boat, right? Come down. I'm not as narrow-minded as you. Zhang Qingxiao scolded with a smile, Yellow Flower Ridge's patrol area is not far ahead. I'll let you see if I've lived up to my promise to you. Oh. Okay. Xiaohua came to his senses and jumped down from the flying boat. Sure enough, Zhang Qingxiao put away the black jade arrow boat and followed Xiaohua for a few dozen li. When they were about 50 li away from Yellow Flower Ridge, several 10th layer Qi refining disciples flew over from the distance. These disciples were all wearing the 100 Herbs Gates uniform. When they saw Xiaohua and Zhang Qingxiao, their faces immediately showed signs of vigilance. One of the disciples immediately turned around, while the others came forward to greet them. Junior Chao Ming of the 100 Herbs Gate at Yellow Flower Ridge greets the two seniors. May I know why the seniors have come to my Yellow Flower Ridge? At the front, a middle-aged man in his 30s asked politely with a smile on his face, cupping his hands in a respectful manner. Xiaohua and Zhang Qingxiao had concealed their cultivation, so Chao Ming could clearly see that they were early-stage foundation establishment cultivators. However, despite their youthful appearances, they were actually at the early stage of foundation establishment. It was obvious that they had some background. Chao Ming naturally didn't dare to slight them. Although he was on guard, he still greeted them respectfully. Although Zhang Qingxiao concealed her cultivation, she didn't change her appearance. Seeing Chao Ming respectfully greet them and even ask questions in a well-behaved manner, her face showed a hint of surprise. She looked at Xiaohua but didn't say anything. Seeing this, Xiaohua also smiled. It hadn't even been 10 years since Zhang Qingxiao eliminated the 100 Herbs Gates remnants in Yellow Flower Ridge. During these 10 years, Yellow Flower Ridge was already patrolled by 10th layer Qi refining disciples. Although Xiaohua hadn't seen the changes in Yellow Flower Ridge, he could see Zhang Qingxiao's good intentions and Xiao Xianrui's painstaking efforts from the patrolling disciples. Since Zhang Qingxiao didn't say anything, Xiaohua naturally couldn't not speak. He cupped his hands and said with a smile, I am Xiao Ding of the Splendid Sect. I'm acquainted with Jiang Fan of your 100 Herbs Gate. Today, I've specially come to visit fellow Daoist Jiang. Jiang Fan. When Chao Ming heard that the two foundation establishment cultivators were here to see Jiang Fan, his expression changed greatly. Since he was a disciple of the 100 Herbs Gate and was also a 10th layer Qi refining disciple, he naturally had some understanding of Yellow Flower Ridge. Although he didn't understand why Jiang Jiantong and the other gate masters had fallen in such a short period of time, leaving only Xiao Xianrui, the wife of the young gate master, in charge of the gate, he was astute enough to infer that something was fishy. Chapter 27:13. What? Isn't Jiang Fan at Yellow Flower Ridge? Seeing Chao Ming's expression change, Xiaohua naturally frowned and said unhappily, he left a message before, asking I and the others to come and find him. Is he at Medicine Farmer Peak? Chao Ming looked at the ill-looking Xiaohua, then looked at Zhang Qingxiao, whose face was as calm as water. He even looked at the nearby disciples whose eyes were flickering. He slightly bit his lips, bowed and said, I wonder when Senior Xiao saw Vice Sect Master Zhang's message. This. Xiao Hua raised his head and thought for a moment, then smiled. Last year? Or the year before last? This Xiao doesn't remember clearly. So it's like that. Hearing Xiao Hua's words, Chao Ming had a rough idea of what was going on. Smiling apologetically, he said, Seniors, I'll let you know. About 8 or 9 years ago, our 100 Herbs Gate suddenly experienced some unforeseen events. Gate Master Jiang and his family all fell seriously ill. Of the entire gate, only the young Gate Master's wife survived. However, the young Gate Master's wife was also ill. The original 100 Herbs Gate disciples took the opportunity to loot 100 Herbs Gate's foundation and scattered. Today's 100 Herbs Gate is being rebuilt by sect leader Xiao on the abandoned foundation of 100 Herbs Gate. Oh. There's such a thing. Xiao Hua was shocked when this Xiao and Jiang Fan parted. It seemed he was about to enter foundation establishment. We cultivators, how could there be any serious illness? Chao Ming smiled bitterly. The specific situation, this junior doesn't know. This junior only entered 100 Herbs Gate 6 years ago. What about the previous 100 Herbs Gate disciples? None left. Xiao Hua said in astonishment. Yes, sect leader Jiang died, and only sect leader Xiao and young sect leader were left. It's already good that those 100 Herbs Gate disciples didn't take the opportunity to seize my 100 Herbs Gate's foundation. Chao Ming sighed with emotion. Under sect leader Zhao's planning, today's 100 Herbs Gate is becoming more and more prosperous, far from what it used to be. As he spoke, Chao Ming stole a glance at Xiao Hua's expression. This Xiao has seen Jiang Fan's dual cultivation partner. She seems to have the same surname as this Xiao. Xiao Hua coldly snorted and said, however, from what I've seen, this female cultivator's character is irresolute and indecisive, far inferior to Jiang Yan. How could she possibly manage a cultivation sect to be so prosperous? What's more, Jiang Jiantong and the others died of illness. Didn't any other cultivators who were on good terms with them ask about it? Senior Xiao. When Chao Ming heard this, although his face was filled with respect, his tone was somewhat indifferent. What Senior said is all Senior's conjecture and cannot be taken seriously. There are quite a few cultivators who are acquainted with Senior Jiang, the former sect master of 100 Herbs Gate. Even the 10,000 Flowers Valley once sent their disciples over. After all, Senior Yutsong of the 10,000 Flowers Valley was Senior Jiang En's dual cultivation partner. However, several years have passed and the 10,000 Flowers Valley has not raised any objections. If Senior wants to go to Yellow Flower Ridge to pay a visit to my clan leader, this junior can naturally lead the way. But, if Senior is here, and interrogating this junior, please forgive this junior's rudeness. Oh. I'm a disciple of the Shanghua sect. Although Jiang Fan isn't a good friend of mine, I've met him a few times. As for his matters, I'll really ask more. As Xiao Hua spoke, he flung his Daoist robe. Not to mention Chao Ming, even the several 7th-layer Qi refining disciples near Chao Ming were imprisoned by Xiao Hua. Seeing Xiao Hua make a move, Zhang Qingxiao frowned. He hadn't uttered a word all this time because he wanted Xiao Hua to see his magnanimity. Xiao Hua's interrogation was one thing, but once he made a move, Zhang Qingxiao's face would be somewhat embarrassed. Although these 100 Herbs Gate disciples weren't personally selected by him, he still ordered the Heavenly Demonic Sect disciples to do this. Xiao Hua clearly didn't trust the Heavenly Demonic Sect, right? Moreover, this Chao Ming's manners were proper, and he truly had the bearing of a disciple of a famous sect. Senior Xiao. Although Chao Ming was somewhat flustered, he still hurriedly said, Senior, you're a foundation establishment senior and a disciple of the Shanghua sect. This junior heard that the disciples of the Shanghua sect are the most impartial and strict. Senior, why are you making things difficult for my 100 Herbs Gate because of your conjecture? I just want to ask, how Jiang Fan died. What, death from illness, or something like that? I don't believe it at all. Xiao Hua said coldly. Hearing this, Chao Ming sneered and said, Senior Xiao, you just said that you have the same surname as my sect master Xiao. The old saying is right, 500 years ago, you were one family. Senior, you don't believe in your own family, so why do you believe in the rumors of others? Oh. What rumors? Xiao Hua raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, I never said anything about rumors. You said it yourself. Humph, Senior Xiao, there are no rumors in this world. When people talk about it too much, it's just a rumor. Chao Ming didn't fall for it and said with a cold snort, Sect Master Xiao of my 100 Herbs Gate is a female cultivator, so naturally, there are many sects that have designs on my 100 Herbs Gate. If Senior was bewitched by others and came to make trouble, this junior still advises Senior to stop. After all, the Shanghua sect is a great sect in my country of Xi. My 100 Herbs Gate doesn't dare to provoke the Shanghua sect, and we don't want to provoke the Shanghua sect either. But what if this Xiao wants to get to the bottom of it? Xiao Hua giggled, revealing his pure white teeth. Chao Ming sighed and said very firmly, this junior's cultivation is shallow, so I'm naturally no match for Senior and the others. However, this junior entered 100 Herbs Gate as a loose cultivator and has received a lot of favor from 100 Herbs Gate. This junior would rather live and die with 100 Herbs Gate. Good, live and die with you. Xiao Hua laughed and waved his hand, increasing the power of imprisonment. This is what you want to sacrifice your life for, so of course I can fulfill your wish. However, you only need to tell me the rumors from your mouth, and I can let you live. Otherwise, I will kill you all and then kill my way to Yellow Flower Ridge. Senior, spare my life, spare my life. Before Chao Ming could speak, a 7th layer Qi refining disciple hurriedly shouted, this junior only entered 100 Herbs Gate last year. This junior is willing to tell Senior the truth about the death of the previous sect master Jiang. Oh. Very good. A smile appeared on Xiao Hua's face. With a wave of his hand, the imprisonment of the 7th layer Qi refining disciple immediately disappeared. He said with a smile, this Xiao knew it. Between life and death, there's bound to be some great opportunities. Fan Jia. Chao Ming was furious and cursed, you entered my 100 Herbs Gate, but what did this Chao do to you? Could it be that because of this little threat, you're pouring unwarranted dirty water on Sect Master Xiao? Fan Jia sneered, 100 Herbs Gate is only a thumb-sized sect. How can it compare to the magnificent sect? In the past, 100 Herbs Gate was able to survive in Yellow Flower Ridge because Senior Xiao of the magnificent sect didn't know about it. Now that Senior Xiao of the magnificent sect has come to redress Sect Master Zhang's grievances, does this 100 Herbs Gate still need to exist? Good, well said. Xiao Hua clapped and said, this young master is going to settle old scores with you all. Then, Xiao Hua said to the others, what are you waiting for? Do you want to live or die? The others looked at each other, their faces deathly pale. One of them saw Xiao Hua's question and hurriedly said with a smile, Senior Xiao, this junior entered 100 Herbs Gate earlier than Fan Jia, so I've heard about the changes in 100 Herbs Gate. But, as you know, the life and death of this sect is really nothing. What rumors? What's the use of saying so much? Xiao Hua sneered, this young master only wants to ask you all, do you want to die? If you don't want to die, you all naturally know what to do. Senior, spare us. Several people also begged for mercy, and Xiao Hua's expression was even more brilliant. At the same time, he felt somewhat bitter in his heart. At this juncture of life and death, how many people could keep their hearts? But the following words from several people stunned Xiao Hua again. Senior, please spare our lives. We've been disciples of 100 Herbs Gate for many years, and we're just ordinary disciples. We don't know anything about the rumors you've told us. Although we don't intend to live and die with 100 Herbs Gate, we still hope that Senior will be magnanimous and spare our lives, and that's already good enough. Xiao Hua nodded slightly. Just as he was about to speak, he heard Zhang Qingxiao say coldly from the side, "Why waste so much breath? Just kill him." "Don't." Xiao Hua was slightly taken aback. Just as he was about to block, he saw Zhang Qingxiao wave her hand, and a ray of light flashed, attacking the disciple named Fan Jia. Thus, he moved, but stopped. In fact, he didn't intend to kill him. At most, he would just expel Fan Jia from 100 Herbs Gate. After all, this was a choice between life and death, so it was inevitable that it would be unfair. But in the end, Fan Jia actually said that there was no need for 100 Herbs Gate to exist. For a disciple of 100 Herbs Gate, this was truly unforgivable. Senior. Fan Jia only had time to cry out in alarm before the ray of light hit his body. Fan Jia didn't have time to resist at all, and his corpse immediately fell from midair. Aside from Xiao Hua, the others didn't even see how Fan Jia was killed. Ha ha ha. Forget it. Xiao Hua waved his hand, and the imprisonment of Chao Ming and the other disciples completely disappeared. Just now, I was just joking. Don't mention this to others. This is a little compensation from me. After saying that, Xiao Hua flew up first, and before he left, he waved his hand again, and a few spiritual pills fell into the hands of Chao Ming and the others. Zhang Qingxiao paused for a moment, and her gaze swept across the people who were begging for mercy just now. The coldness in her eyes made their hearts tremble. However, Zhang Qingxiao didn't say much, and she also turned around and flew into the sky, chasing after Xiao Hua. Not long after, she disappeared from everyone's sight. What's going on? Chao Ming looked at the spiritual pills in his hand. There was no medicinal fragrance on them, and he felt very puzzled. However, he was very clear that this so-called Xiao Ding of Shanghua sect was definitely not an old friend of Jiang Fan, and they definitely didn't come here to avenge Jiang Jiantong and the others of 100 Herbs Gate. As for why? Aside from Xiao Hua and Zhang Qingxiao, who else could know? That's right, why? Up until now, Chao Ming was still baffled. He had asked a bunch of questions for no reason, imprisoned them for no reason, and killed an aura-refining disciple for no reason. Then, he turned around and left as if he was some kind of expert. However, this matter left an unforgettable impression in the hearts of Chao Ming and the other disciples. Chapter 27:14. Alas, that's a foundation establishment, Senior. We aura-refining disciples are nothing but lambs waiting to be slaughtered. What choice do we have? Chao Ming couldn't see the value of the medicinal pill in his hand. What the 100 Herbs sect lacked the least was medicinal pills, so he casually put it away. Looking at the other disciples who were also in a state of shock, he waved his hand and said, "Let's go. Collect Fanja's corpse and return to Yellow Flower Ridge. We'll wait for Lord Sect Master's orders." Senior Marshal Brother Chao, what's going on? Those who had a good relationship with Chao Ming naturally had to ask. How would I know what's going on? Chao Ming shook his head slightly. We're just children in the eyes of Foundation establishment seniors. They can do whatever they want with us. However, from what happened to Fanju, we have to follow our hearts no matter what the situation is. We have to ask our conscience before we say or do anything. At this point, Chao Ming's heart suddenly jumped. He turned his head and looked in the direction Xiao Hua and Zhang Qingxiao disappeared. What's wrong? Senior Marshal Brother Chao. Everyone turned pale with fright. They thought Chao Ming had discovered the two of them had returned. No, nothing. Chao Ming said in a low voice. What I said just now seemed to have made me understand a principle of cultivation. Senior Marshal Brother Chao's words. Let Senior Marshal Brother Chao understand it himself. Everyone was puzzled. Alas, that's right. Chao Ming sighed. A clear conscience. This is the true essence of cultivation. Only in this way can our mental states be pure and our Tao hearts be exquisite. The disciples around the seventh layer of aura refining nodded as if they understood. Anyone could say this, but which cultivator in this world could comprehend it? Chao Ming was forced by Xiao Hua between life and death, yet he was able to comprehend this. To him, this was more than just a lucky chance. Xiao Hua, who didn't know that he had once again helped a cultivator gain enlightenment, was still complaining from afar. Second Senior Marshal Brother, Little Brother was only scaring those aura-refining disciples. You didn't have to be so ruthless, right? Humph. If it weren't for you, I would have killed all those disciples. Zhang Qingxiao said coldly. You're already a disciple of Yellow Flower Ridge, and you still dare to be a fence-sitter. Sigh, this is also my fault. Xiao Hua sighed. He knew that Zhang Qingxiao had lost face and was in a bad mood. He said, it's just a test. It's not appropriate to make such a big commotion and make people choose between life and death. Actually, from what I see, other than Fan Zhe, everyone else is good. After all, it's already commendable that you didn't say anything bad about Yellow Flower Ridge under my coercion. That Chao Ming is not bad. Zhang Qingxiao lightly said, only a disciple like him is worthy to be a disciple of Yellow Flower Ridge. But disciples like Chao Ming, how many can there be in Yellow Flower Ridge? Xiao Hua said with a smile, even this Xiao knows that I wouldn't be so loyal to the Imperial Thunder sect. You don't have to blame yourself. Zhang Qingxiao still said indifferently, although you killed the cultivators of the Imperial Thunder sect, you might not be able to betray the sect. How do you know that this young master killed the disciples of the Imperial Thunder sect? Xiao Hua was shocked and looked at Zhang Qingxiao with an inconceivable gaze. Zhang Qingxiao slightly frowned, knowing that she had misspoken. She hurriedly remedied the situation and sneered, my heavenly demon sect has only been established for a few years and has yet to establish a sect in the Dawn Rain continent. There are already countless filthy people in the sect who kill each other. Your Imperial Thunder sect is so big and you want to hide your cultivation. Speaking of recruiting disciples, Zhang Qingxiao's face darkened. The current disciples of 100 Herbs Gate had indeed been arranged by Zhang Qingxiao. During the recruitment, they had been carefully selected. Every disciple had excellent aptitude, but after all, there was no knowing what a person's heart was. Xiao Hua had caught Fan Zhe, and Zhang Qingxiao had nothing to say. You haven't been a gate master, so you don't know the trouble. Zhang Qingxiao wanted to explain, but after saying half a sentence, she waved her hand and said, why am I telling you this? This is my Yellow Flower Ridge, I'm not at ease with you. Why are you not at ease with me? Ha ha ha, Xiao Hua laughed loudly. Of course, Zhang Qingxiao was Heartwarming's true second disciple, and he was the half-disciple who hadn't entered the sect yet. Please. Second senior brother, don't tell me you don't know how to enter Yellow Flower Ridge. Xiao Hua raised his hand and said happily. Of course I know. Zhang Qingxiao looked at Xiao Hua with a strange expression and asked, don't tell me you don't know how to enter. Me? Of course I don't know. Xiao Hua was somewhat baffled. The jade slip that junior sister gave you already indicated how to enter and exit the array. Zhang Qingxiao sneered. You flaunted your concern for Yellow Flower Ridge, but you didn't even look at the jade slip that junior sister gave you. Xiaohua blushed with shame and said with a smile, there are many things that junior brother wanted to see. Junior brother only looked at the jade slip roughly and didn't comprehend it in detail, so, you explained to your junior sister. Zhang Qingxiao took the lead and flew up. Finally, she managed to regain some of her face. When she flew near the back mountain of Yellow Flower Ridge, Zhang Qingxiao clapped her hand and picked up a jade slip similar to the one Heartwarming used before. She carefully looked at the jade slip and circulated the magic power in her hand. The jade slip emitted a faint white light, and as Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand, the white light fell on the thick fog, and the fog began to roll as if it was boiling. After a sizzling sound, a passage appeared in the thick fog. Zhang Qingxiao's hand seals and hand gestures were exactly the same as Xiaohua's before he left Yellow Flower Ridge. At that time, Xiaohua couldn't see the mystery of the hand seals and only felt that it was very difficult to understand. At this moment, although Xiaohua saw the hand seals clearly, the familiar hand seals warmed his heart. He knew very well that Yellow Blossom Ridge was the place where his memories began. He was afraid that he would never be able to forget everything about Yellow Blossom Ridge. It was also because of Yellow Blossom Ridge's existence that he and Zhang Qingxiao, the sect master of the Heavenly Demon sect, had a balanced intersection. Even in the future, the Heavenly Demon sect and Fortune Gate would have a subtle balance. Yes, the Heavenly Demon sect was still in its embryonic form, but under Zhang Qingxiao's planning, it was gradually revealing its ferocious teeth. Just as Zhang Qingxiao said, the 13 holy sects would definitely be the #1 sect on Dawn Rain Continent in the future. And the Fortune Gate. It didn't even have an embryonic form now. Whether it would even exist in the future was unknown. Zhang Qingxiao didn't know the power of Daoist Xiao, and didn't know the influence of Daoist Zhao's name on cultivation. Therefore, she didn't know the reputation of the Fortune Gate after its establishment. However, Xiaohua knew that he could faintly foresee that the future of Dawn Rain Mainland was going to change rapidly, and the Fortune Gate would definitely stand out in this era. He even had a feeling that the Fortune Gate's achievements might not necessarily lose to the Heavenly Demon sects. And this unremarkable Heartwarming, a small sect with only 3.5 disciples, would be the origin of 2 great sects. Please, junior brother. Looking at Xiaohua in a daze, Zhang Qingxiao said warmly. Please. Second senior brother. Seeing Zhang Qingxiao's rare amiability, Xiaohua also smiled. Zhang Qingxiao didn't stand on ceremony and flew into the passage, followed by Xiaohua with a smile on his face. After passing through the array and seeing the familiar scenery, Xiaohua had mixed feelings and said in a low voice, Second senior brother, little brother has wronged you. Please, forgive me. This is my Yellow Flower Ridge, of course I will restore it to its former state. Zhang Qingxiao said proudly, I never care how you look at me. Xiaohua didn't bicker with her and asked, where are senior sister and Jiang Luer? I heard from junior sister that they are at Cherishing Flower Peaks Herb Garden. Zhang Qingxiao said casually. Xiaohua was stunned and asked curiously, why did Jiang Luer go to Cherishing Flower Peaks Herb Garden? How would I know? Wouldn't it be better to ask? Zhang Qingxiao's figure flickered and gradually disappeared. It was the Devil World's concealing technique. Xiaohua didn't dare to be negligent and also used the concealing technique, but before he could disappear, Zhang Qingxiao's figure reappeared and said in astonishment, Xiaohua, how can you use my Devil World's cultivation technique? Chapter 27:15 Wasn't this concealing technique given to Xiao Hua by Zhang Qingxiao? Xiao Hua took a lot of things from Zhang Qingxiao and really forgot about it. Don't talk about Xiao Hua, even Zhang Qingxiao herself didn't care about this technique when she gave it to Xiao Hua. She even said that Xiao Hua couldn't cultivate it. Yes, this is what second senior brother gave me. Xiao Hua says with a smile, since second senior brother can cultivate it, why can't I? Nonsense. I am a devil, a person from the devil world. Although I also cultivate Taoist techniques, but I also cultivate devil world techniques. You are not a person from my devil world, how can you cultivate devil world techniques? Could it be that you cultivated the blood drop paradise? Although Zhang Qingxiao didn't say it in detail, she made it clear that the devil world's tracking technique can only be cultivated by cultivators who know devil world techniques. This. I don't know. Xiao Hua shakes his head. I didn't carefully comprehend the blood drop paradise, let alone cultivate it. But this tracking technique. I can use it with just a little bit of cultivation. You really didn't comprehend the blood drop paradise. Zhang Qingxiao doesn't believe it. And I saw that the technique doesn't use heaven and earth spiritual energy to cultivate. It only cultivates devil fire and devil blood, so I didn't continue to look. Xiao Hua is a little unhappy. I haven't finished cultivating this Taoist technique, how can I have time to cultivate that? That's strange. Since you didn't cultivate the blood drop paradise, then you must have cultivated devil world techniques before. Zhang Qingxiao frowns, but then she is shocked and says anxiously, could it be, you are a person from my devil world? Yes, it's true. When Master found you that day, although you weren't near the Imperial Demon Valley, you were not far from it. Moreover, it was not long before the Great War of Immortals and Devils. You are definitely a person from the devil world. Speaking of this, Zhang Qingxiao's face becomes alert again. A person from the devil world. Xiao Hua's heart skipped a beat. He had also wondered about this before, but he couldn't find any basis for it, so he ignored it. Now that Zhang Qingxiao mentioned it again, he was naturally delighted. He finally had a breakthrough in his background. Is it true that only devil dwellers who have cultivated devil arts are able to use the concealing technique? Xiao Hua asked. This. It might not necessarily be a devil cultivator might be able to do it too. Zhang Qingxiao hesitated and said, in short, those who have nothing to do with my devil sect will not be able to use it. In other words, you are most likely from the Imperial Demon Valley. Zhang Qingxiao's eyes narrowed, and she actually once again slightly pulled away from Xiao Hua, as if she was very afraid of the truth that Xiao Hua was a devil realm devil dweller. That's strange. Xiao Hua giggled again. If this young master is someone from the devil realm, wouldn't he be acquainted with you? Why are you so afraid? Shouldn't you be happy? If you're from the devil realm, you must have a purpose for coming here. Now that you don't have your memories, it's natural for you to claim kinship with me. If you remember anything. Don't you want to complete your mission? My heavenly devil sect, and myself. Aren't we all being used by you? Zhang Qingxiao snorted coldly. It wasn't easy for me to open up a place in the Dawn Rain continent. Wouldn't I have to make a wedding dress for you? Xiao Hua said strangely, your words make this young master feel strange again. If this young master is a cultivator, you're at ease, but if this young master is a devil dweller, you're not at ease. You're actually so disappointed in your own kind. Zhang Qingxiao snorted coldly and didn't answer Xiao Hua. Obviously, she was already on guard against Xiao Hua. However, Zhang Qingxiao's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. No. Zhang Qingxiao shook her head fiercely, if you're from the devil realm. How can you be proficient in the Buddhist sex cultivation method? How can you have Buddhist awareness? This is absolutely impossible. Then, am I a person of the devil realm or not? Xiao Hua listened to Zhang Qingxiao's startled words, and was even more at a loss as he asked curiously. Whether you are or not, it has nothing to do with me. Zhang Qingxiao rolled her eyes at him and said, "This is your own life experience. Why do you want me to worry about it for no reason? At most, you've practiced devil techniques, you're definitely not from the devil realm." After speaking, Zhang Qingxiao's figure flashed again, "Don't." Xiao Hua hurriedly prepared to pull Zhang Qingxiao and said anxiously, "Why don't you tell me why this young master isn't from the devil realm? Can you not ask so many questions?" Zhang Qingxiao flicked her sleeve and a black brilliance flashed, blocking Xiao Hua. Her figure disappeared, presumably going to Xihua Peak. Watching Zhang Qingxiao leave, Xiao Hua sighed, "Alas, I originally thought I had a new clue, but now it seems, it's also useless. However, since I'm not from the Dawn Rain continent, then I'm definitely an outsider of the Dawn Rain continent. And this different realm, other than the 10,000 demon realm, is the devil realm. And what second senior brother said isn't without reason. I really might have come from the devil world, and it was precisely through the Imperial Devil Valley that I came to the Dawn Rain continent." Xiao Hua pondered as he used the same concealment technique to fly towards Xihua Peak. Unfortunately, Xiao Hua had just condensed his gold core, and his realm had not yet stabilized. In the 10,000 demon realm and the devil realm, even those as strong as Xian Wan and Dongshan Yi couldn't enter and leave at will. How could he be qualified to go? His life experience. I'm afraid it'll take a long time to have some clues, right? When Xiao Hua appeared in front of Xihua Peak, Zhang Qingxiao was already standing outside the medicine garden, looking at the medicine garden in a daze. Seeing this, Xiao Hua released his Buddhist awareness and looked at the medicine garden. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Along the way, Xiao Hua saw a lot of 100 Herbgate disciples. All the disciples' cultivation was around the 5th level of qi refining. These disciples were in a hurry. Perhaps they were all busy with some affairs of the 100 Herbgate. When they saw each other, they just cupped their hands and saluted, exchanging some pleasantries before flying away. At this time, inside the medicine garden, there were hundreds of children at the 2nd and 3rd level of qi refining. They should be taking care of the medicine garden, but they were also playing around while taking care of it. The whole medicine garden was bustling with noise and excitement, and even laughter could be heard from time to time. Xihua Peak has never been so lively, Zhang Qingxiao said in a low voice. She seemed to be talking to Xiao Hua, but also seemed to be talking to herself. That day, even if Master was here with eldest senior brother, junior sister, and me, we wouldn't be so lively. Let bygones be bygones. It's useless to think too much. Xiao Hua also muttered in a low voice, and also seemed to be talking to himself. His figure flew towards a corner of the medicine garden. His heart was filled with emotion and disdain at the same time. When this young master was in the medicine garden, you all never came. Where did this liveliness come from? Xiao Hua's figure didn't stop. He flew to a corner of the medicine garden. This place was already some distance away from the medicine garden. Even the laughter of the medicine apprentices couldn't reach here. Moreover, this corner was blocked by a restrictive spell. Needless to say, this was the place where Jiang Luer fainted. When he flew in front of the restrictive spell, Xiao Hua was a little hesitant. He stretched out his hand and then withdrew it. After all, Yellow Flower Ridge was not the same as before. Just a moment ago, he was still squeezing Zhang Qingxiao. Now that he was here, he was the host. Humph. Hypocrite. Zhang Qingxiao also flew behind Xiao Hua. When she saw Xiao Hua's hesitation, she sneered and stretched out her hand. Just as she was about to tear the restrictive spell, the whole restrictive spell flashed with a faint brilliance. About 10 feet away from the two of them, some obscure fluctuations were generated. Along with the fluctuations, a square hole appeared. Xiao Xianrui, who looked a little haggard, walked out of the hole. As soon as Xiao Xianrui revealed her figure, she was just about to tidy up her appearance. Just as she raised her hand, she saw Xiao Hua and Zhang Qingxiao. Her face immediately showed joy, and she shouted, "Second senior brother, little junior brother, you came?" Zhang Qingxiao's eyes showed warmth, and the corner of her mouth slightly hung a smile. "How's the situation?" "It's still the same." The joy on Xiao Xianrui's face just flashed, and was immediately replaced by a worried look. "It's the same as what little sister said in the communication talisman that day." Xiao Xianrui seemed to want to say something, but Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand and said, "Don't say so much, let Xiao Hua take a look first." "Let little junior brother take a look." Xiao Xianrui was surprised.
This cultivation method was given by Xiao Hua. I just gave it to him. Zhang Qingxiao said lightly, "If you don't let him take a look, who should you look for?" "So it's like this." Xiao Xianrui suddenly understood, and looked at Xiao Hua and said, "Please, little junior brother." "Senior sister." Xiao Hua said embarrassedly, "It's all my fault, what are you waiting for? Go and take a look." Zhang Qingxiao was a little impatient. Xiao Xianrui said with a smile, "Second senior brother, it's been several months, and Lu hasn't changed. I don't think he's in any danger, isn't it all to find him?" Zhang Qingxiao snorted coldly, "Even if I come, I'm afraid it won't be of any help." "I know." Xiao Xianrui smiled reluctantly, "Thank you, second senior brother." "You're welcome." Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand casually, and Xiao Hua had already stepped into the restriction. There was nothing inside the restriction, and the green grass on the ground was no different from the outside of the herb garden. However, in the center of the restriction, there was a child of about 10 years old sitting cross-legged. The child sat cross-legged with his hands folded and placed naturally between his legs. His eyes were slightly closed, and his eyelashes were motionless. His small mouth was pursed, and his nostrils on both sides of his nose were moving very slowly. Because there was no sunlight on his pale face, it was abnormally pale. However, although the child's face was pale and very thin, he was abnormally serious, and looked like a solemn statue. "Jiang Lu is so big now." Xiao Hua sighed. The last time he saw Jiang Lu, he was just a child in his arms. Now, he was about 10 years old. Thinking about the battle in Sky Patrol City, it was nearly 10 years ago. Time flew like lightning.
However, Jiang Luer's brows did not move, and her eyes did not show any signs of opening. Sigh. Xiao Hua sighed and shook his head slightly. If he had the fourth divine ability of Buddhism, perhaps it would be of some use. But now, just the third divine ability of Buddhism should not be able to awaken Jiang Luer. After keeping the Buddha Sarira, Xiao Hua rubbed his chin with his hand. After thinking for a moment, he urged his soul thread to extend out from the Dharma eye between his brows. The soul thread had gone through the lightning tribulation, and the fluctuations within it were much stronger than before. It was like a baby growing up into a child, and there was a lot of strength in its arms. It did not take much effort at all. The soul thread entered Jiang Luer's soul from between her brows. Jiang Luer's soul was very similar to Xiao Hua's soul. They were both mysterious dark clouds, but at this time, Jiang Luer's dark clouds were very quiet. Although there was some rolling inside, the rolling was very rhythmic. At first glance, it looked very harmonious, and even made Xiaohua's soul thread feel very comfortable. If there is a mutation in the soul, I'm afraid it won't be like this. Xiaohua only used his soul thread to take a look. He did not have much confidence in his heart, so he pulled out the soul thread again. Thousands of soul threads fluttered in the air. Although they could not be seen with the naked eye, a kind of faint sound was emitted from the dancing soul threads. Hearing the buzzing sound, Xiaohua slightly furrowed his brows and thought to himself, the soul power that soul cultivators speak of is the strength of this soul thread. However, in essence, this soul thread doesn't have any strength. The so-called strength of this soul thread is the strength of the undulations. Now that this soul thread has gone through the lightning tribulation, it seems to have improved. It can even be said that it has mutated, and the fluctuations have become stronger. Therefore, Xiaohua didn't think of informing Han Zhu at all. But now, looking at Jiang Luer's situation, he was afraid that only Han Zhu could wake Jiang Luer up. Alas, it's all karma. I'm already in the karma, how can I escape? If there's no other way, I can only face it. Xiaohua sighed slightly and put away the talisman of the capital star array. Although Zhang Qingxiao and Xiao Xianrui were outside the restrictive spell, Zhang Qingxiao's divine thought had never left the restrictive spell. When she saw Xiaohua's figure appear, she immediately scanned Jiang Luer. Alas, Zhang Qingxiao sighed slightly and turned to Xiao Xianrui, who was biting her lips slightly and didn't dare to look back, and said, Xiaohua can't wake Jiang Luer up. Although this result made Xiao Xianrui extremely disappointed, she still forced a smile on her face, turned and walked into the restrictive spell, and said, Thank you, junior brother. It's all my fault. Xiaohua hurriedly said, Although I can't wake Jiang Luer up, I've already thought about it. Maybe someone else has a way. Ah. Really? Who is it? Xiao Xianrui was overjoyed again. This. Xiaohua hesitated and shook his head, and said, Who is this person? Forgive me for not telling you, but he's also a Buddha. At this point, Zhang Qingxiao, who was at the side, coughed hard. Xiaohua was slightly taken aback and looked at Zhang Qingxiao with some confusion. However, before Zhang Qingxiao could speak, Xiao Xianrui asked in confusion, Is this person's status very high in the Xiaoyu continent? Is he the head of some Buddhist sect? Chapter 27:17. Xiaohua immediately came to his senses and hurriedly covered it up. This senior's temper is rather strange. He doesn't like to extend his hand and meddle in other people's affairs. Previously, this little brother had the chance to meet him. If I were to ask him again, would he extend his hand to save Lu Er? Oh, is that so? Xiao Xianrui nodded slightly and turned to look at Jiang Luer with a trace of affection in her eyes. Xiaohua pondered for a moment before asking, Senior sister, tell me exactly how Jiang Luer ended up like this. Don't leave out a single word. Xiao Xianrui thought for a moment and told him everything that had happened. In fact, it was very similar to what Zhang Qingxiao said. Ever since 100 Herbs Gate underwent earth-shaking changes, Jiang Luer gradually grew up. After all, when Jiang Fan died, Jiang Luer was still very young. After asking about Jiang Fan a few times at the beginning, he gradually forgot about Jiang Fan and only grew up with Xiao Xianrui. When Jiang Luer was 4 or 5 years old, Xiao Xianrui began to teach Jiang Luer an extremely simple beginner's chant according to the customs of the Xiaoyu continent. However, what Xiao Xianrui didn't expect was that although Jiang Luer was extremely intelligent and could understand the first level of qi refining at a glance and could explain it clearly and logically, when he really practiced it, this Jiang Luer who had loved the aquamarine pearl since he was young and played with it every day actually couldn't generate a single strand of true qi. Not even a trace of true qi could be produced. Xiao Xianrui was dumbfounded. She had seen a bit of this situation on Xiaohua's body, but at that time, it wasn't that Xiaohua couldn't produce true qi, but his growth was too slow. That trace of true qi was almost non-existent in Xiaohua's meridians. This Jiang Luer was different from Xiaohua. He could not produce even a trace of true qi. Xiao Xianrui was surprised and carefully observed the process of Jiang Luer's cultivation. The whole process was exactly the same as described in the manual, without any deviation. However, at the end of refining the heaven and earth ling qi, Jiang Luer could not produce true qi. At first, Xiao Xianrui thought that it was a problem with Jiang Luer's physique. She put the water attribute manual aside and found a fire attribute manual for Jiang Luer to comprehend. Naturally, the result was still the same. What drove Xiao Xianrui even crazier was that the 100 Herbs sect didn't have any metal-type qi refining techniques for the time being. Neither the other wood-type techniques nor the most common earth-type techniques were suitable for Jiang Luer. Later, Xiao Xianrui spent a lot of effort, spirit stones and spirit herbs, and finally got a rough gold qi refining method from others. Even this last glimmer of hope did not allow Xiao Xianrui to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Jiang Luer still could not generate true qi. At this time, Xiao Xianrui had already thought of Zhang Qingshao. However, in order to avoid arousing suspicion, Zhang Qingshao did not directly appear in Yellow Flower Ridge. Moreover, he was also busy with the affairs of his heavenly demon sect and rarely communicated with Xiao Xianrui. Seeing that Yellow Flower Ridge was thriving, Xiao Xianrui wanted to try to solve it herself. However, year after year, Jiang Luer grew up and became more sensible. Xiao Xianrui racked her brains and thought of countless methods, but still could not let Jiang Luer really practice qi. What was rare was that Jiang Luer was also precocious. Since he was a little more sensible, he knew the importance of cultivation. Since he started practicing his first qi refining method, he devoted himself wholeheartedly to it. However, the reality was such a blow that Jiang Luer felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart.
He felt that his future was hopeless, and even his whole life was gloomy. For several years, every attempt by Xiao Xianrui was a blow to Jiang Luer's confidence. However, every time, Jiang Luer gritted his teeth and faced it. Although Xiao Xianrui never scolded him, in his heart, he was extremely depressed. Later, when Jiang Luer saw that his mother was so busy with him that she didn't even have time to meditate, Jiang Luer very cleverly advised his mother not to spend any more effort on him. Perhaps he himself had a physique that could not cultivate. He had already accepted his fate. Being able to accompany his mother by her side was his greatest happiness. Jiang Luer being so sensible made Xiao Xianrui even more sad. She didn't expect that God would play such a big joke on her. Therefore, when Xiao Xianrui shed tears, she had to use the method left by Zhang Qingshao to send him a messaging charm. Naturally, after more than half a year, Xiao Xianrui got the golden puppet of the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra that Xiaohua gave to Jiang Luer. Of course, this golden puppet had been cracked by Zhang Qingshao using the devil sex method. Along with the golden puppet, there was also a jade slip, which was the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra that Zhang Qingshao had relayed. Similarly, Jiang Luer didn't have divine thoughts, so he couldn't read the jade slip. Xiao Xianrui had to record the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra in the jade slip and give it to Jiang Luer to comprehend. Xiao Xianrui didn't know about the Buddhism sect, and she didn't know much about the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. She herself couldn't understand it at all. However, she heard from Zhang Qingxiao's jade slip that this Heart Sutra was only for Jiang Luer to read, and she didn't explain a word. Of course, Xiao Xianrui didn't suspect anything else. She only thought that it was a secret cultivation technique of the Xiaoyu continent. Even Xiao Xianrui didn't know that this Heart Sutra was given to her by Xiao Hua.
There was indeed no change in the situation, until today, when Xiao Hua and Zhang Qingxiao came together. Xiao Xianrui said this with a choked voice. She didn't complain about Xiao Hua, but she was worried about Jiang Luer. During this time, a few more message talismans were sent, but Xiao Xianrui didn't look at them at all. She just reached out and broke them, completely ignoring them. The more Xiao Xianrui acted like this, the more guilty Xiao Hua felt. He only thought that he could learn without a teacher, and even create his own foundation establishment cultivation method at the critical moment, but he didn't expect that this extremely dangerous cultivation method was not suitable for everyone. Even if Jiang Luer's aptitude was exceedingly high, at this time, he was also implicated by Xiao Hua's recklessness. Senior sister, after Xiao Xianrui finished speaking, Xiao Hua said apologetically, "This is indeed my fault. Don't worry, I will do my best to wake Jiang Luer up." Junior brother. Xiao Xianrui said with a forced smile, "It's not your fault." That day, when Luer got the Heart Sutra, he was very happy. I was also happy that he could use this Heart Sutra to comprehend magic. At that time, I was really grateful to you and Qingxiao from the bottom of my heart. As for Luer's current situation, it's mostly my fault. I should have read this Heart Sutra more, comprehended it myself, and then taught it to Luer. Alas! Xiao Hua sighed. He understood in his heart how Xiao Xianrui could comprehend the Heart Sutra of Prajnaparamita. But at the same time, his heart moved, and he stretched out his hand. "Senior sister, that cultivation method and second senior brother's jade slip for me to see." He has just started practicing this cultivation method. No matter what, it is impossible for him to meditate so quickly. Yes, yes. Xiao Xianrui said anxiously, "I also think so. But Luer can't wake up from his meditation, which makes you anxious." Xiao Hua didn't wait for Xiao Xianrui to finish her words and said, "If Luer didn't make you so surprised, and even told you that he wanted to meditate first, you wouldn't be worried, right? But Luer didn't abstain from eating. If he doesn't eat, how can he live?" Xiao Xianrui argued, "If Luer didn't look so haggard, I wouldn't be so worried." Although Xiao Xianrui said so, Xiao Hua didn't believe it. He looked at Zhang Qingxiao and said, "Second senior brother, according to my plan, I'm going to take Luer out. What do you think?" Zhang Qingxiao nodded. He knew in his heart that Xiao Hua was going to look for an expert from the Buddhist sect. This person must be extremely secretive and would definitely not let the cultivators of the Dao sect know about it. And this person would definitely not come to Yellow Flower Ridge openly. Other than Xiao Hua bringing Jiang Luer along, there was no other way. "Okay. I'll pack up now," Xiao Xianrui said hurriedly with a hint of joy in her eyes. "Senior sister." Xiao Hua was stunned and hurriedly stopped her. "What are you going to do? If you leave, what will happen to the Hundred Herbs sect?" Xiao Xianrui said flatly, "The Hundred Herbs sect can't compare to Jiang Luer. If Luer is like this, the Hundred Herbs sect might as well be disbanded. If it's the Hundred Herbs sect, you can go by yourself." Zhang Qingxiao sneered, "But this is Yellow Flower Ridge, it's Heartwarming. If you go, won't you be letting down your dead master?" This. Xiao Xianrui's face showed hesitation and she bit her lips. Now that Xiao Xianrui had taken the rejuvenation pill, she looked like she was in her 20s. Her hesitation was heartbreaking. "But I can't bear to leave Lu. If I don't see him wake up, my heart won't be at peace. Xiao Xianrui begged, how about we ask second senior brother to stay in Yellow Flower Ridge for a while? Stay in Yellow Flower Ridge. Zhang Qingshao looked at Xiaohua coldly and snorted, there will be people here who won't agree. Senior sister. Second senior brother, do you have anything else to say? Xiao Xianrui stood there and didn't look back, as if she was afraid that if she looked back, her heart would soften. Alas! Why do you have to do this? Zhang Qingshao said, as long as you wake Lu up, everything will be easy to talk about. Xiao Xianrui's eyes were still looking at the herb garden, afraid that they would fall on Jiang Luer. She said with a somewhat blocked nose, second senior brother, thank you for reminding me. A loving mother leads to a useless son, this principle is known by everyone in the secular world. How can I not know? But when I think about the child, I can't help but love him. If this goes on, how can Lu make any progress? His current difficulties are all caused by me. In the future, when Lu is by your side, you can beat or scold him as you wish. Alas, Xiaohua sighed and wanted to say something, but when the words reached his mouth, he didn't know how to comfort her. However, Zhang Qingshao looked at Xiao Xianrui's back and then looked at Jiang Luer. He flew to Jiang Luer's side, stretched out his hand, and touched Jiang Luer's arm. A drop of essence blood flowed out from Jiang Luer's arm. Zhang Qingshao reached out and grabbed the drop of blood essence. Immediately after, Zhang Qingshao formed a series of hand seals and continuously struck the drop of blood essence. As the hand seals entered the drop of blood essence constantly flashed with a blood-red brilliance. Chapter 27:19. Oh. Xiaohua didn't understand Zhang Qingxiao's actions, but seeing these somewhat familiar spells, he felt strange. Isn't this similar to the spells used to refine the natal spiritual tablet? Sure enough, after waiting for a moment, Zhang Qingxiao clapped her hand and took out a pure white jade. She pointed at the red light that had turned into a ball of light and shouted, quick! The red light immediately fell on the jade along with Zhang Qingxiao's spell. With a ka-cha sound, the pure white jade immediately glowed red. When the red light was annihilated, a pink natal spiritual tablet appeared in the air. Junior sister. This is Luer's natal spiritual tablet, take it. Zhang Qingshao waved her hand and the natal spiritual tablet fell in front of Xiao Xianrui, saying, if anything happens to Luer, this spiritual tablet will break. If it doesn't break, Luer will be fine. You can also be at ease. Xiao Xianrui's eyes showed a trace of gratitude. She took the spiritual tablet and looked at Zhang Qingshao, saying, thank you for your care, second senior brother. After saying that, she carefully hid the spiritual tablet next to her body. Oh, right, just now, Xiaohua and I killed a disciple of the 100 Herbs sect in front of Yellow Flower Ridge. Qiao Ming will definitely report the matter clearly. Zhang Qingshao said again, in addition, this Qiao Ming is worth training, you should pay more attention to him in the future. Yes, I understand. Xiao Xianrui nodded and stepped out of the restriction. From beginning to end, her eyes never looked back, never fell on Jiang Luer's body. However, just as she walked out of the restriction, tears flowed out again. Xiao Xianrui was a foundation establishment cultivator, but she was also a mother. How could she not be worried when her flesh and blood, who had been with her for nearly 10 years, suddenly left and had a difficult future? Although Xiaohua promised that he would wake Jiang Luer up, Xiao Xianrui also believed that Xiaohua would do his best. However, she always had a premonition in her heart that Jiang Luer would never be awakened so easily. In fact, this separation could very well be the final farewell between her and her own flesh and blood. Perhaps he would never see Jiang Luer again. Xiao Xianrui flew out of the herb garden, then flew out of Xihua Peak. However, after flying for several hundred feet, she suddenly turned around and rushed towards the restriction formation of the herb garden. However, when she landed within the restriction once again, it was already empty. Jiang Luer, Xiao Hua, and Zhang Qingxiao had already disappeared. Looking at the empty restriction, it was as empty as the emptiness in her heart. Xiao Xianrui couldn't help but cry. Her graceful figure collapsed on the ground. Where was the bearing of a foundation establishment cultivator? She really regretted it. Why couldn't she take another look at her son? Even if his son was in a meditative state, he was still by his side. Now, his son was no longer by his side. What was the use of having a divine connection cultivation base? Xiao Xianrui touched the spirit tablet she had hidden under her clothes. She had mixed feelings. She clenched her fists tightly as if she was clutching her own son, as if she had found someone to rely on. Are we really leaving like this? Xiao Hua held Jiang Luer in his hand, and his figure appeared in the air outside Yellow Flower Ridge. He said to Zhang Qingxiao, who was also slowly showing her figure, "Senior sister will definitely regret it later. Don't you want her to see Luer again?" We're just leaving for a few days. Why do we have to be separated by life and death? Is it interesting? Zhang Qingxiao snorted and waved his hand. The black jade arrow boat landed in the air again. He said, "Let's go." "Where are you going?" "I'll send you there." At most, Luer will return to Yellow Flower Ridge in a few months. Xiao Hua didn't stand on ceremony. He flew onto the flying boat and placed Jiang Luer properly on it. He pointed to the east and said, "Let's go to Lian country." Lian country? Zhang Qingxiao was stunned. Why? Not in Shi country. Yes. Xiao Hua didn't explain and only agreed. Zhang Qingxiao activated the flying boat, but after flying for a while, he was in a dilemma again. If we go to Meng Kingdom or Shi Kingdom, it's easy. My heavenly demonic sex teleportation array can also be used. But unfortunately, it's Shi country. My heavenly devil sex teleportation formation isn't built well. If we don't use the teleportation formation of the sect and just rely on the flying boat, I'm afraid it'll take a lot of time. Luer, can't eat, it's really troublesome. Xiao Hua raised his eyebrows. As if he thought of something, he asked, "What does your heavenly devil sect have that can hold living people?" "What do you mean?" Zhang Qingxiao didn't understand. "For example, a spirit storage bag." Xiao Hua reached out and took out a spirit storage bag from his chest. During the Dao Sword War, I once put the disciples of the Imperial Thunder sect into this spirit storage bag. Spirit storage bag? Zhang Qingxiao was shocked. Although this spirit storage bag can hold spirit beasts, the space inside is very strange. The formation is also unstable. Even the spiritual qi is limited. Especially Luer. He can't breathe and still needs to breathe. Putting him in this spirit storage bag, can he live for long? Let's not talk about this first. Do you think it's possible or not? Xiao Hua asked. If it's possible, you and I will use the teleportation formation and put Luer in this spirit storage bag for the time being. Zhang Qingxiao thought for a moment and nodded. It should be possible, but it can't be for too long. Otherwise, it'll be easy for Luer to suffocate to death. That's good. Xiao Hua nodded. He looked at it for a long time, and only when he could confirm it did he close his eyes and sit down cross-legged. After an hour, two hesitant figures flew over from the distant horizon. They were Cui Hongshan and Dui Qiming. Xiao Hua naturally saw them. He frowned and a trace of doubt flashed through his eyes. Dui Qiming, why is she here? This heavenly demon sex disciple is really unreliable. Xiao Hua didn't let the other people from the myriad Thunder Valley come out to see him because he was afraid that they would leak some information. Cui Hongshan's mind was 10 times more lively than the rigid Xiang Yang. If he called him out, he should be able to keep it a secret. However, if Dui Qiming of the Lightning Conversion Palace was added, wouldn't his plan fail? However, Xiao Hua pondered for a moment and the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile again. He thought to himself, since she's here, then, as her senior brother, I have to show my gratitude again. Cui Hongshan and Dui Qiming's divine senses swept over and saw that it was actually Xiao Hua. Their doubtful faces couldn't help but be filled with ecstasy. They looked at each other and used the lightning escape technique to fly towards Xiao Hua. Second senior brother. Why is it really you? Cui Hongshan shouted from afar. The joy in his voice was definitely from the bottom of his heart. Dui Qiming, who was beside him, didn't shout, but her face was flushed red. She actually looked shy. You're here. Xiao Hua stood up with a smile and waved his hand, indicating for them to descend. He asked, what took you so long? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.